Welcome into the Instant REAX podcast for week 6. Dazzo, I'm trying to go. Let's see. Here we go. I'm trying to get myself up front. There we go. I'm trying to get myself on the screen, and we had you full screen, but you're working behind the scenes here. But anyway, we're here. We're live. It's week 6. Another great night of high school football. We already got coaches in, lined up, waiting to talk. Let's run through some scores, and then we'll bring in the coaches to hear the reactions from the games from around our area. Matt Randazzo from Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, also joined by Kyle Kampmeyer from NUICfootball.com. The regulars here in the View from the West Instant React studio. So great to have them along. Great to have everybody watching along. Dazzo, you've been tracking the Western Big Six. Let me pull up the scoreboard here, and let's get into that, and then we'll kind of read through some scores from around the area before we get into our coaches.
Yeah, Greg, first and foremost, I might be messed up, but I only see the logo.
There it is.
I'm not seeing you guys or anything else but the logo right now, which is fine.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't...
Which is, I mean, I'm good. I can hear, which is great. That's the important part, but I'm just seeing the beautiful View from the West logo right now. I don't see Kyle, and he's eating Tombstone pizza.
Oh, well, we got final scores pulled up. You don't see those?
No, I don't, but I can go through them because I came prepared.
There we go.
I came prepared.
Right.
Moline beats Rock Island 62-7. 5 turnovers from Rock Island turned into 5 touchdowns for the Moline Maroons. Their sophomore quarterback, Ponder, went 12 for 16. So they threw the ball 16 times, 185 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air. Moline still undefeated in the Western Big Six, playoff eligible once again with their 5th victory of the season. They're not looking to become playoff eligible. They have bigger aspirations as well, but you got to get in first. So congratulations to Moline. They dominate over at Browning Field. Best game of the night over at the Soul Bowl. United Township comes up short once again. Quincy wins this one 23-21, the final score. It's the 5th time in the last 2 years that the Panthers have lost by 3 points or less on the season. Quincy scored late to take that 23-21 lead. Panthers had a chance for a 40-yard field goal with about 20 seconds left, came up short. So congratulations to Quincy. They get back on track. United Township now 3-3 on the season overall. Sterling cruises over Alleman 55-13, the final there. Geneseo goes on the road. They beat Galesburg 38-20. So that sets up a really good rivalry game next week, Greg. Sterling and Geneseo, always fun, always good, but 2 teams that are playing really good football right now will square off next week, I believe, at Bob Reed Field. So that's how the Western Big Six looks after week 6 of the high school football season.
Perfect. Thank you. I hope you can see us eventually, but we'll work our way through it here.
It could be me. I don't know. It could be a me thing. I'm kind of punching some buttons and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see if it works out.
All right. Well, let's get into the Lincoln Land large scores here. We have Knoxville getting the win 32-22 over Illini West. Elmwood Brimfield falls to West Hancock 42-34. Great win there for the Titans. Bureau Valley gets their first win of the season 44-6 over LVC. And Farmington gets the win 30-16 over Macomb. We have head coach Toby Vallas waiting in the wings. We'll get to him in 1 second. We also have head coach Tony Gripp waiting from Anawan Wethersfield. Let's read through the small school scores here real quick. We have Princeville getting the win 42-8 over Rova Williamsfield. South Fulton falls to A-Town. A-Town gets the big win, another close win, another close game for them. They get the win 34-27. You have Anawan Wethersfield, like we just mentioned, getting the win 48-7 over Stark County. So Tony Gripp on the line. He'll be in a second. Rushville Industry 54-18 over United. And we've already heard that Havana was supposed to play Westmont tomorrow. They have the forfeit victory there. So without any further ado, let's bring in the head coach of the Farmington Farmers. He's on the line, head coach Toby Vallas. Coach, thank you so much for being here. You get the road win. You're on the bus ride home. The vibe's got to be pretty good on that bus ride home.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It was a good time. We had a good time. So always good to get the win.
Yeah, great. Talk a little bit about, you guys are a young group. And, early in the season, you felt like you had to kind of, learn quickly and figure things out, get really comfortable at the varsity level. This was the challenge tonight, going on the road to Macomb. I believe it was their homecoming, and they're
Yep.
undefeated. So there's a lot here, and they score a touchdown and take the lead, and you guys immediately punch back. I have the highlight here. I want to roll it, but tell me about kind of, what was the talk on the sideline after they take a fourth quarter lead and your response?
Well, we had a ton of penalties and different mistakes, and we just knew we had to get it to our playmakers. And obviously, when you get the ball in Jack's hands, good things happen. So
yeah,
we did that, and he made it happen.
Yeah. I want to ask you about, Jack Gronwald, when we talked about how much, turnover you had. What does it mean to have him as a senior leader and as a, lead by example, get the job done on the field kind of guy? What does he mean for this program?
I mean, he means a lot there, but he bails me out a lot too when I make mistakes. So we appreciate him there. But I'll tell you, tonight, Landon Crawford deserves a lot of credit because, boy, he was something special out there tonight. And he's really come on this year.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about him. What'd you see coming into the year, and what's he doing now that really makes him stand out?
He really bought into the weight room and took off a little bit this year. And that's really changed him because he fought us for a long time on it. And then he finally read some science and found out weightlifting was good for you and got going. But he's just got so much confidence in himself and his teammates. But, I mean, huge interception, ran back for a touchdown to put the game out of reach, an interception again to seal the game. Had a long touchdown that got called back, but just he was phenomenal tonight.
Yeah. Matt Randazzo, I believe you've been following along with this game. This is a big one in the Lincoln Land Conference. Obviously, 2 undefeated teams going up. What questions you got for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, first and foremost, congrats on the win. And Greg kind of covered it, but a guy down in your area, Jim Matson, was on my show this week and kind of talked about what you guys are like right now. And obviously a freshman at quarterback, and you kind of mentioned he called Jack the best small school wide receiver, one of the best ones he's ever covered. Kind of talk about not just his big play, but then afterwards, that defense continued to come up big. The pick 6 by Landon Crawford, and then another interception to hold a Macomb team to 16 points. Yeah, those guys on offense get all the glory, but that defense played really well for you, didn't it?
The defense has been the story all year. We tried to lose there for a little bit on offense. We were we showed our youth that we tried to dribble the football a couple times and stuff like that, and penalties shot ourselves in the foot. But defensively, we held strong all night, and that was kind of the backbone. And when you have a strong defense like that, you can call the game differently because they're going to bail you out.
It's cliche, Coach, like in sports to say, like a freshman isn't a freshman anymore, or a sophomore isn't a sophomore after a certain point of the season. I think like that freshman tag gets put on your quarterback so much. At what point is he not one? At what point is he, because he's played in some big games already, he's made some big plays, sure doesn't play like a freshman, obviously. Is that kind of safe to say after you played so much that you guys maybe not look at him as a freshman anymore?
Well, I mean, one thing was apparent tonight. I probably played Jack too much at quarterback tonight, and as soon as I put Carson back in, we took off. And, not because Jack was doing anything wrong, but Jack's obviously a weapon other places, and that freed up Landon, which frees up Boston and makes everything else go. So I think that definitely tonight I learned my lesson that Carson Noy needs to be out there on the field. So,
yeah. Hey, Coach.
Lesson noted.
Yeah. Coach, we got Kyle Kampmeyer here from NUICfootball.com, and he kind of keeps a view of the whole state, in Class 2A. So, Kyle, what do you got for, Coach Vallas here?
Coach, that was just a big win. Obviously, getting with Macomb, everybody was looking at it for a conference championship. On top of that, it kind of validates where the Farmers are based off of last year's run that you had and what you're building for this year as well. Things obviously are looking really good for your team. Really excited to see where you go. Everybody's been talking about your team this year, and rightfully so as well. So, like you said, Jack Gronwald, he's just been phenomenal for you guys. Anybody else stand out that we haven't really heard a whole lot about?
I mean, Landon Crawford, Carson Noy, Boston Smith, all three of those receivers, I think, all of them are over 6'2", They all can run, and I think just the trio, somebody's going to draw the bad matchup at some point, and that's been the key for us finding stuff. So now there are still times when it's 2-on-1 on Jack, we just don't throw it to him, but free somebody else up all the time.
All right, Coach, show off the bus here. Who's on the bus? Is that your daughter sitting next to you? She's enjoying the ride.
The coaches, my daughter, she's 8, she's my partner. As long as we go to Casey, she promises to ride home with me. So, yeah.
There you go. Hey, that sounds like my kids.
All right.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks a lot, Coach. Give a shout out to the boys in the back. Is Landon Crawford listening here? You seem like you were referencing.
Those guys all ride home with their parents. They don't want to ride with us on the bus ride home, so they all jump on with their parents. I'm not like Coach Adolphson. I'm not the bus Nazi. I don't make them all ride the bus home. So
take that, Coach Adolphson.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Coach, congrats on the big win. And, it's pretty remarkable what you're doing here with, kind of a turnaround group and really building and keeping success that you built last year. It's been a lot of fun, and that was a great win over a great program there in Macomb. So enjoy that ride home. Drive safe.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right. I hear he's only got 10% left on his phone battery.
Greg, we're grinding. We're grinding with Coach Gripp. We got to get him on.
We better get in here. Hey, Coach Tony Gripp, the head coach of the Anawan Weathersfield Titans, you get the big win. Another win here. The battle of undefeateds on both sides of the LLC. Farmington gets the win on the big side. You get the win on the small side. Coach, what'd you see this week as you game plan for Stark County? I mean, looking at comparative scores, it seemed like you guys were the favorite going in, but the way you jumped on them, I think, early, what'd you see and what was working?
Well, first I'll say I only got 5% now, so if you lose me, that's why. I apologize.
Okay.
No, they're quick. They're not as big as they normally are. The Dom kid and the quarterback mesh really, really well. And the Dom kid even showed tonight. He's a dude. He's not very big, but any ball going his way, he can come down with. And he played lights out tonight. I mean, he was a dude. So we couldn't really replicate that as well as I thought we could this week in practice, and it showed in the first half tonight. So we got to do a little bit better job of that. But, throughout the year, we haven't really seen 26 passes in the first half either. So that was good for our secondary to see as well. So, yeah, I mean, the game plan was really good. They made some really big plays in the first half, but we were bend but don't break on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Kyle Kampmeyer is here from NUICfootball.com. Obviously, he always has his eye on the small schools and that 1A North bracket in particular in the postseason. Kyle, what do you got for Coach Tony Gripp here?
Well, obviously, going into this game, it was a big matchup with you guys in Stark County, and, of course, a lot of people were talking about it. I myself had picked you guys to win. I have you guys projected to go undefeated right now, so hopefully you guys can make me look like a prophet. But you guys are looking really good, Coach. And obviously there's a lot of people talking. I've already been talking to some people tonight about the Titans and your rise in the rankings and things like that. And I told them, I said, well, sit back. I'm sure it's coming. You guys are definitely closing that gap. So, you guys have always had a great fundamental program going all the way back to the first time I got to see you guys play in 2019. Of course, prior to that, you had the 2 semifinal runs in Class 2A as well. So, obviously there's a lot of things going good for you guys. What's your plans as far as what you got to do moving forward to get to that 9-0 mark? And is there anything that you're looking down the road for?
Uh-oh. I think we might have... Oh. You still there?
I'm back. Sorry, I had to ignore a phone call.
Oh.
No, I think the biggest thing is, we got some guys banged up right now. We had a broken collarbone in our scrimmage. We had another broken bone. That's going to be another couple weeks. So, I think number one, we got to get healthy. And number two, just keep focusing on us and getting better each and every day. Because really the ball's in our court. And we control our own destiny there. So really just focusing on us. It doesn't matter who the opponent is, and just getting better every day.
Before I pitch to Dazzo for a question, I got to say, I love the game in Anawan every year, man. I look forward to it. I know I've tagged you on X in the past, man. Whenever I get a chance to swing by that field, it just feels different. It's old school. There's no gates around it. There's no fencing around it. You just walk right up. Like, what does it mean to get to play a game in Anawan every year? And I don't know, did the kids appreciate it? What's the vibes in the program?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always only one or two, so you gotta use that time. You got to use the opportunity that we're playing here to the best of your ability. And as an Anawan alum, it's always sweet to coach here. As I played here, I grew up coming to games here, and we like to call it the sacred acre in my family. But yeah, no, it means a lot, and the field could probably use a little bit of work, but that's okay. It's a level playing field for everybody.
Yeah, it feels old school. I love it. I absolutely love it. Dazzo, what do you got for Coach?
Yeah, Coach. First off, congrats on the win. We talked earlier this week, and we know what you guys can do offensively and defensively. And those guys up front have been so important to you. The defense, and kind of the same question that we asked Coach prior, the defense almost gets overlooked because of the offense. Can you talk about what they did? Because it was a different look. It was things you couldn't replicate. And you guys did a good job of holding a good football team to just 7 points.
Yeah, I mean, our coaches on the defensive side of the ball do great. I found a charger here, so give me 1 second.
That's effort. I love that.
Yes.
That's well done.
Yes. Coach, while you're plugging in, we're watching some of your highlights here, and man, it was fun. You got some guys, no secret, you got some guys that can run the football and with a little power, a little speed, and it was some great highlights for me tonight, for sure. Let's see. He plugged in, so we should be good.
Uh-oh. Did he jinx himself?
I don't know.
Greg, did he? But you look at it, and Greg, you were there, obviously, and look at the footage is fantastic as always. But you mentioned, we talked to him earlier this week on Off the Air. They love to run the football, and you can see there.
Oh, watch this run. 20. Look at that. Do you see that leap?
That's 20 yards down the field. I mean, but they're not getting touched for like 10, 15 yards. Those boys up front.
Yep.
Really doing the job for Anawan Wethersfield, and obviously their backs are super talented as well. But I know he had 4 or 5 offensive linemen coming back this year, and it's those guys up front that are really making a difference in that program. But Greg, the video, well done. You've got a knack for this kind of stuff almost.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't see Coach Gripp, so maybe we'll move along and see if we can, get him back in a minute here. But let's pivot to, let's see. We went to the LLC. Oh, Coach Gripp, he's getting back in the room. Here we go. This is the instant REAX at its very best.
Live television at its finest,
That's
Greg.
right. That's right. I got to let him in the room. Here we go. Hopefully. I'm trying to let him in. Well, I'm trying to let him in and it's not working, and I don't know why, but that is frustrating.
You had us all excited.
He said, "Let me know if you want me anymore."
We
say
do,
absolutely.
but I can't. I don't know how it's not letting him in. I don't know why.
I'll just say Greg's an idiot. No, I'd never say that. Greg is trying, is what I'll say.
It's recorded.
Oh well. Yeah. I just gotta play the role of Mitch somehow, some way. So ever so often I gotta. But an impressive win, and I guess Greg, while you work on that, Kyle and I can do what they in the business say, stretch a little bit. But you mentioned it, and they fit into that whole northern bracket, Kyle. I know that there's some really good teams in it, but Anawan Wethersfield quietly kind of showing that they belong with some of those upper echelon teams when it comes. And you're right. I think they get to 9-0. No disrespect to anybody on their schedule, but a 9-0 Anawan Wethersfield team is going to be probably getting a home. Definitely getting a home playoff game early on. Your thoughts on where they fit in that northern bracket right now?
Right now, if they go undefeated, they're going to be sitting most likely with the 2 seed, which will get them a great opportunity to advance. The tough part is right now with the way that a couple of these teams are breaking out, they might, even at the 2 seed, they might not have a favorable first round match. They're right now it's projecting they might get a Galena or a Forston who might come into the playoffs at 5-4, and that those aren't your traditional 15, 16 seeds, and it'll be interesting. Not that they can't beat them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that that's going to be a very tough first round matchup if it were to happen, and definitely a matchup I'm looking forward to at the same time.
No, absolutely.
But yes, no, Anawan Weathersfield's definitely starting to climb the ranks, and there's a lot of talk going around them as well, which is excellent to see and hear.
Yeah, and I think tonight the big thing is that they were Greg, is that they were so impressive in what they did. Obviously, it was 5-0 versus 5-0, but to kind of dominate the game and win that scoreboard. Yes, they're winning football games, but they're doing it at a high level. Coach was on the show this week, and he mentioned like there was one game, I think it was their last game, maybe against Rushville Industry, that they left a touchdown there late. That it's like, I mean, not that they were trying to run up a score or anything. It might not even been late, but like he really, like they had 40 points or more in every game but that last one. And he said, we were sloppy with some things that we could have scored that. So, they're doing it on offense. They're not giving up a lot of points on defense and all of those kind of things. How tested they are remains to be seen. But I thought tonight was just impressive that it was a 5-0 team. It's Stark County impressive early on, and to not just win, but the way they're winning football games is super impressive. Go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say we got Tony Gripp back in the house here, so and phone is charging now, Coach.
Yeah, we're plugged in. We should be good to go. Sorry.
And right. Tony, the only thing that happened is I had to talk nice about you for the last 5 minutes. So you can go back and listen to all the nice things, and I deserve credit, Coach. Like, let's be honest. Let's talk real talk. You came on my show before the season started. Boom, 5-0. Then you came on this week, a dominant victory. Like, go ahead, just like give me a little credit, right?
So, Coach, what I need you to know,
you get all the credit.
Coach,
all of it.
What I need you to know, Coach, is that while he was praising you, he was insulting me for not knowing how to use the technology on my end. So it all, here it is.
It all worked. It all worked out. Say, Coach, that, like in football, sometimes things don't go as it's the end result. And Greg, the end result is we got Coach back with us.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's why I got a tech guy that helps us out every week, because I wouldn't be able to do it.
There you go. So, Coach, we'll get back into ask you real quick. I want to ask you about, you had a lot of talent graduate last year, and we talked a lot about Zeb Rashid and Brody Childs that graduated a year ago, and throughout last year, it felt like things didn't get moving the way you wanted to because of injuries to those guys. What you referenced in your preseason form you sent back to me that maybe that unfortunately created some opportunities for these guys. Do you think you're seeing that pay off now, where their game speed and their comfortability in the varsity, in these Friday nights is that much more than it would have been had things gone maybe ideal to last year's setting?
Yeah, I think no question. And it is unfortunate because those were great players and they're great kids. But it certainly does, help us out this year big time. We still had a lot of developing to do, especially up front with a couple guys, but they learned quick and they were willing to learn. They've worked their tails off and they're really, really good for us.
Yeah. Coach, what is it about your system right now that's working so well? I mean, it's, there's, guys been put in the right position, but what do you see that the execution is happening where you want it to?
Yeah, I think, and before my phone died, I was going to talk about my defensive coaches, and I'm sure I'll hear about it later, but, they do a great job in their preparation week in and week out to put our kids in the best spot, to succeed. So, when we get the ball back rather quickly, for the most part all year, it really pushed the pressure on their defense. And, I think the best thing that we do is we just stretch the field horizontally in so many different ways. And when you have three guys that can run the ball really, really effectively, it's tough on defenses. Who do you key on? We got guys going in two different directions. And, we kind of tell our guys, hey, we're not going to block everybody up front. So there's a read key, and whatever that guy does, they're wrong. So I think the biggest thing is just being able to stretch the field, all 53 and a third, and what we can improve on is now stretching the field vertically.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything for Coach?
No, just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're making a lot of good things going on for the Titans, and it's always fun to watch you guys play and how you guys can perform at a high level every year.
And Coach, you're nothing without me. Remember that. No,
I won't forget it. I won't forget it.
Hey,
congrats, Coach. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Coach,
guys.
Yep. Before we let you go, I do want to ask about, now that we're through week 6, when do you start looking at kind of where you fall in the playoffs? Do you do that as a head coach, or do you do that on the side without letting the kids know that you do that, or kind of where does that fall now that you get later in the season?
Say that one more time. I just had another phone call. I couldn't hear you.
So I was talking about now that we're through week 6 and, playoffs are ahead of you, when do you start looking at kind of where you sit in the playoffs, and do you talk to your kids about it, or do you kind of just go game by game with them, but do you look at it?
No, I mean, we try not to, especially, through week 6, it's still fairly early, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. And I definitely don't want the kids to look at it. Like I said earlier, we gotta focus on ourselves. We still have a lot to accomplish yet. We won 6 games. Sure, we're in the playoffs, but there's still a conference championship left on the table. There's still 3 more games to win. And, we'll worry about that after week 9.
Great. All right. Well, get that phone charged and, find yourself somebody to hang out with. You're hanging out in the dark by yourself, just talking to us. So
and tell your friends not to call, and tell your friends to watch the show and quit calling. Like, what are we doing here?
Motel 6. We'll leave the light on for you, right?
All right. Thanks,
Awesome.
Coach.
Yep,
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Hey, did you guys catch who jumped in the fray here when we were on the line with Coach Gripp? Ty Taylor.
Greg, I still can't see anything but the logo, but that's okay.
Ty and Kyle, can you see everything on the screen?
Yeah, I see Dazzo. I see Dazzo struggling. I'm watching him struggle.
I see the most handsome man in the Quad Cities, Matt Randazzo.
Oh, that's my guy. Ty Taylor's back. I love this guy. Hey, if I leave and come back in, would that help?
I don't know. Maybe you can only see the start screen.
Yeah, the start screen.
That's weird. I don't know. Can you guys?
I'm gonna
see
leave.
Everything?
Will you let me come back? Will you let me back in if I leave and come back in? That's the question.
It
does have the ignore button. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'll be back, boys. Hold on.
All right. Well, hey, Ty Taylor on the line here. You were at the Rock Ridge Orion game, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And you will be on the road tomorrow to see Mercer County at Newman. So you're getting a double dose of the Three Rivers Conference here. So tell me about, let's hear, you know what? First, let's pull up the scores from the Three Rivers, and then
I can really tell people are really jealous of me what I got to do tonight and what I get to do tomorrow. I'm really sure of that.
I'm going to let Matt Randazzo back in the room. Let's see if he can figure out his technique.
Hey, I can see everybody now. I can see everybody now.
This is live.
This is so much better.
Live at its very
Well, let's
best.
be honest, guys. It's not like I really wanted to see Tony Gripp. Let's be honest. Like, he's not pretty on the... No, I'm kidding. Coach, I kid.
All right, here we go. Let's read through some scores here from the Three Rivers Athletic Conference. In the Mississippi side of things, Monmouth Roseville gets the win, 49-13 over Sherrard. You have Mendota getting the big win, 45-13 over Kewanee. Princeton gets the win, 28-12 against Spring Valley Hall. Newman and Mercer County on the Rock side of things play tomorrow. Rock Ridge wins 50-7 over Orion. And maybe the game of the night, maybe the game of the week in our area, Erie Prophetstown gets the win, 42-36 over Riverdale. I kind of want to start there. From what I heard, it was a really back and forth game, and just kind of that, who's going to score, who's going to have the ball last to score wins. Dazzo, were you following along with this one at all?
Yeah, I caught it most of the night and then got up to it late. It was 42-30. Riverdale scored, and they had a chance. They drove. They had a chance with time expiring. They had a pass into the end zone, but it was knocked away late. And it's a huge win for Erie Prophetstown. Greg, I'll let you know that head coach Tyler Whitebread is going to join us probably around 11 o'clock, so about 12 minutes from now, give or take. That was way too exact.
Yep, that sounds good.
So he's on his way home, and he's going to join us after that. But huge victory for them to be able to do the things they got done. And we kind of talked, and probably Ty and I kind of talked about it too, where like, if this you got Orion, you got Erie Prophetstown, you got Riverdale, they're all going to play each other, and how those individual matchups go might determine the 2 of the 3 that get into the postseason, if that's kind of the way things are looking. So a huge win for Erie Prophetstown. Hats off to them. As we mentioned, Coach Whitebread will join us soon, but a great rivalry game, great atmosphere in Erie Prophetstown, and hats off to them. That's a signature big victory for Erie Prophetstown this season.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure we give a shout out to Shimdog, who hooks us up every week with scores, info, everything. He was helping Mitch out tonight. You guys know that Mitch is like out in Los Angeles right now, like hanging out in Hollywood with celebrities and stuff. So
yeah,
you know, that's what he does.
Hollywood. I want, you know how like they had the Hollywood Hogan t-shirts. I want the Hollywood, either Mitch or Hollywood Stormer t-shirts is what I want on the website, if we can get that going.
Yeah, he's a really big deal. So, you know, that is what it is. So he's not here tonight, but he was updating scores in the background. I give him a ton of credit. He had us up and rolling when we were ready to go tonight at 10:15. So, Ty Taylor, you were covering the Three Rivers Athletic Conference tonight. Rock Ridge gets the win over Orion, which was expected, but tell me what you saw tonight on the field.
So this is the first time I got to see Rock Ridge in person, and they are really, really good. I mean, they were really impressive. I mean, if you look at the numbers, total yards 550 to 157. Rock Ridge rushed for 435 yards, and Orion to -2 yards on the ground. I mean, it was as dominant as it sounds, and probably even more so. Now, it is important to note, so Orion, Owen Voorhees got hurt like on the 3rd snap of the game and didn't come back in. So that's something obviously to kind of monitor, because he's a fantastic player for, you know, Orion down the line. Hopefully he's able to come back and play next week. But just like Rock Ridge up front on both sides of the ball, just, I mean, dominated every snap. And, you know, the kids who were running the ball for Rock Ridge had the most space you could imagine. I mean, there was just hole after hole after hole that they were running through. And like their 3 main guys who run the ball, Schweigen had 149 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. And then the 2 running backs, Sowards had 127, Thomas Sowards, and then Tanner Dye 107. So, I mean, it was just a really impressive performance. And defensively for Rock Ridge, I mean, they just gave Orion nothing the whole night. And of course it hurts Orion, like I said, with Voorhees being out, but like they would rush 3 a lot of the night and get to the quarterback. And obviously when you're able to drop 8 guys into coverage, it's going to be tough to be able to complete passes when, you know, the opponent is getting to you at the quarterback in like 2 or 3 seconds with 3 guys. So yeah, Rock Ridge, they are legit. They are really, really good. And they put on quite a show tonight, you know, scored 50 points, got up 50-0 and won 50-7. So I was really impressed with the Rockets, which isn't really like groundbreaking analysis, I'm sure, but it was a nice night for Rock Ridge, for sure.
Yeah.
And you mentioned,
go
I'm sorry, Greg. You mentioned Ty Voorhees going out, which is a huge blow for them. But I watched Orion last week, and you have too. Obviously, they have a punch of firepower. So the 50 points is super impressive, and the 550 is awesome. But the defensive effort, which continues to kind of almost go overlooked out at Rock Ridge, because their offense does what they do, but like to hold Newman what they did last week, they're not giving up too many points in the season. That I think will bode well and play well in November, which obviously conference division championships are important and all those kind of things, conference championships and everything. But like the big picture for Rock Ridge is a bright one when it comes to that. Kind of talk about the defense, what you saw there.
Like I was saying, you know, just at the line of scrimmage, I mean, they, especially against the pass, I mean, we're able to get to filler so quickly. And then when Orion tried to run the ball, I mean, it was like, I mean, maybe 1 yard they'd get. I mean, I can't think of a run play that Orion had that was like more than 3 yards. And we talked about on our broadcast a lot tonight, just like Rock Ridge's front seven specifically, like their 3 down linemen and their 4, 5 main linebackers, I mean, just are so physical, and they just don't miss tackles, and they get, multiple guys with the ball so fast. Like Ryan Lower is just an incredible player on defense for Rock Ridge, and Colin Schweigen starting to play defense this year. He's been just phenomenal playing at an outside linebacker spot. Thomas Howard, who I mentioned, at a running back for Rock Ridge, is a great inside linebacker for them on defense. And then like Tanner McKegg's played varsity football for 4 years on their defensive line. Tanner Dyes had a great year, got a couple of sacks tonight. And then Levi Junis, another one of their down linemen who's just a sophomore. I mean, they're just so strong and physical. And I think the thing to me that's most impressive about them defensively is they are just so fast. And like I said, they just get to the ball with 3 or 4 guys and just don't miss tackles. It's definitely the best defense I've seen in person all year. I mean, they just, last week giving up 6 points to Newman is impressive. And then as good as Orion's offense is, and I know with Voorhees out, that takes away, I mean, a lot of their, how dynamic they can be, but to limit them to 7 points and just, less negative yards rushing was, really impressive. And defensively, I think they'll probably, the rest of the year, with the exception of Monmouth Roseville in week 8, they probably have pretty similar performances against Mercer County. And then in Hall, I think in week 9 is their last game of the regular season. But man, that game with Monmouth Roseville then will be a lot of fun in week 8. That's for sure.
So we thought to start the year that week 1, was it week 1 matchup between Newman and Princeton may be the conference championship, right? Was it week 1 that those two faced off?
Yep.
Yeah. And now, fast forward, and it's Monmouth Roseville and Rock Ridge going to play in week 8, or is it week 7? Is it next week?
Week 8.
It's
week 8.
week 8.
It's week 8.
Yeah. So, I mean,
you forgot the county line clash next week, Greg. How could you do such a thing?
I love that. I do love that game. I was there last year. Tanner McKegg had the big block punt, and Landon Bull ran it in. Landon Bull's only varsity touchdown. I was there to get it. Just saying.
It's like the universe was working out that night. Hey, Greg, I do want to point out, you might have thought Princeton and Newman was for the conference champion, but like that's because you've doubted Monmouth Roseville from the jump. Like you picked against him week 1.
And then I picked him every week since. So there we go.
I'm trying to get off the hook. I'm trying to get back in the good graces and deflect back to you, but it's not working.
You notice that I did not mention to Toby Vallas who I picked in the Macomb-Farmington game.
Did you pick Macomb?
Yes, he did.
I did pick Macomb.
You know what? It's kind of fun. And I love the fact that like the kids watch everything that everybody's doing right now and responding and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And yes, we're picking for teams. We're not picking against teams. I think that's the way people look at it, is like, oh, they're picking against us. We're being positive and picking 4 teams. But no, obviously, and Monmouth Roseville, I'll give you guys a couple stats, courtesy of my good friend Jamie Smith. Which is funny because he like sent me the stats and he's like, Lars had this, Nick had this. I'm like, can I get some last names? I don't like. I'm going off of what. So Lars Berggren had 14 carries for 133 and a touchdown. Nick Houston had 126 on the ground and 2 touchdowns and another receiving touchdown. And Landon Montroy had 84 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. So there's your 5 rushing touchdowns plus a receiving touchdown, which is, I mean, they're throwing the football. Like, I mean, look at that, Monmouth Roseville throwing the football a little bit, showing off. So obviously they do what they did tonight against Sherrard and just big up front and all that. I loved what Ty said the other day when he was on my show, that like I was trying to get him in trouble. He's like, I don't need any of those big offensive linemen from Monmouth Roseville coming up to Aledo and trying to find me. They're so big up front and so physical up front. So thank you, Jamie Smith, once again for the stats.
Curious minds want to know, did they throw more than 1.5 passes?
Ooh.
Curious minds do want to know that.
I'll check. Hold on.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm on it.
Kyle, I want to ask you about, when you just did NUICfootball.com, Kyle Kampmeyer. For people who don't already know, you gotta know. Kyle, you did your first playoff projections, your own, right? I want to give you credit, not Steve Susi. You do your own. You do your own research, which I give you a ton of credit for. Talk through the 2A bracket. And when you look at Rock Ridge and what they're done so far, what else do you see in the 2A bracket starting in the north that teams that we need to be kind of keep on our radar?
Well, obviously, Rock Ridge right now, if they do run the table, which is what I have them projected to do. So, yes, I do have them projected to beat Monmouth Roseville here in 2 weeks.
Kyle.
Yep,
Yeah,
I
I'm
put
just
that on
saying.
recording.
I'm
I
just
put it out
saying.
there.
Yep.
They're, They'll
Not
come,
saying
they'll
it-
come for you.
Yeah, I know. That's fine.
love
But, if they were to run the table, they would be projected as the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Some teams to watch. Obviously, right now I have Farmington projected at 9-0, which I just got done telling Toby Vallas that. And, they would be right around that 4 seed spot. So they're going to be in the same part of the bracket. They wouldn't meet up to the quarterfinals. Also lurking there would be Wilmington at 8-1 at the 5 seed. So their little quadrant would be very tough if everything were to project out the way that it is currently.
Yep.
But another team to watch out for that I'm very attentive to, well, actually there's 2. One is El Paso Gridley. They are just running through everybody. They had a 3-point win last week over Tri-Valley, got another big win tonight to move to 6-0. And from what I hear, they're fast, they're physical, which is what you expect and want to see, and they can move the ball very well. And then Aurora Christian. I'm still trying to get my whole hand on the Chicagoland Christian Conference, but with that conference, we've seen Chicago Christian win the state championship a year ago. And now you have Bishop McNamara and Chicago Hope are both sitting undefeated going into this week. I don't know what their results were today. And both of them are quickly climbing in the 3A stuff. Aurora Christian's not far behind. They just lost to Bishop Mac last week by 3 points. Their other projected loss, or one of the other projected losses, are to Chicago Hope. And if you go back 2 years ago to 2023, Chicago Hope gave Lena Winslow everything that they wanted in that semifinal game in 1A, and they had to get through Aurora Christian in order to meet up with Lena Winslow. There's something cooking there with Aurora Christian, and even if they come in at a below an 8 seed, they're going to be a tough first-round opponent for whoever they match up with, and as the road team. So those are the teams I'm looking at right now that can make some noise here in the 2A North bracket.
Yeah. All right. That was great. Yep. Well, we're talking about kind of the, long-term kind of playoff projections. We were talking about the Three Rivers Athletic Conference. We have Tyler Whitebread here on the line. Coach, congratulations on the big win tonight. And, I think if we're all being honest, Riverdale was getting a lot of headlines, this year for kind of the story they've, come from. And you guys came in with, maybe a lot of sneaky talent, and it was a shootout. It was a back and forth game. You get the job done. What'd you see in your kids tonight, and kind of tell me how it all went down?
Now, first off, I appreciate you guys kind of giving me some bulletin board material this week. Yeah, we definitely had some guys, people second guessing us.
I think I said that you guys had the talent to win the game. I think I said that. I'm pretty sure.
All right, we'll have to play
That was his, you're just covering yourself when you say those things. No, I'm kidding.
No, what an unbelievable game. Our offense was lights out tonight. A lot of credit to our O-line, our offensive coordinator, all the guys that were part of that. And again, a lot of credit to Riverdale. We knew their offense was going to be tough to stop. We had some stops early, and they just, they got it rolling with that running game, and it just didn't really matter what we called or what we did. And finally, we had a couple big stops at the end, so it was an unreal game.
Yeah, Coach. Throughout the season, when you go through the games, at Newman and at Rock Ridge, when you have your challenges, how do you keep the kids kind of focused on, hey, what's next? Keep in mind the big picture. Let's keep moving forward. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of times high school kids, they get caught up in the moment, and it's, it's doom and gloom, or it's, it's the lows are low. How did you fight through some of that to get to this place to know we still have some meaningful football we got to win here?
Yeah, well, I think as you guys saw the game against Newman, we just kind of crapped down our leg. It was real disappointing. We thought we were going to be able to compete with them, and from the get-go, we just weren't able to. We tried to find a few positives in that game, and then we had Rock Ridge, and I thought we played a pretty good game. It was a one-score game in the fourth quarter, and I again finding the positives. But I think one thing I told the guys, in that Rock Ridge game is, I'm done with moral victories with this team because we definitely, we've had them throughout the years, and we have multiple guys that have started for several years on this varsity team. I said it just doesn't cut it anymore. This team's too good for the moral victories, and I think the guys just have a lot of faith in themselves, and the coaches, we never had any doubt that we just, kind of keep trying to trudge along and get better each week. The old mentality.
Yeah. Ty Taylor from WRMJ, you cover the Three Rivers. What do you got for Coach Whitebread?
Well, just the thing for me is just kind of following the game from afar, like the runs and kind of the swings, where you go from leading to trailing to leading to trailing. So just kind of speak about being able to, weather that and end up pulling away in the fourth quarter and then holding on to get to the finish line in a game that it felt like was super, super important for both teams tonight.
Yeah, it was, we talked to our guys at halftime, just, talking about the highs and the lows and trying to tell them don't get overwhelmed with that. Just try to kind of stay in the middle, think next play mentality type deal. And our guys did that. We heard them on the sideline, every time they scored, they said, hey, let's just get it back on offense. And then we got it back on offense, and then they scored. So our sideline was incredible tonight. The guys that maybe don't see the field as much, keeping our offensive and defensive members just up and positive. And it takes a total team effort to win a game like this, because it was a shootout back and forth.
Hey, Matt Randazzo from Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. What do you got for Coach?
Coach, first and foremost, congratulations on spelling your name correctly. When I had Coach on my show, I spelled it white beard instead of bread. So that was on me. So I'm proud of you for getting it correct.
White beard is what I'm working on right now as I get older.
Coach, hey, kind of talk about this is high school football at its finest, isn't it? To have these two schools playing high level football. I'm sure the atmosphere was awesome. Both fan bases. I called the Riverdale Orion game for MC22 last week, and that place was packed on the hillside and everything. I'm sure it was an awesome environment. Kind of talk to that, the rivalry, the environment, and I'm sure you remind your kids what this is, because that's what you grow up dreaming to be part of, is a game like that on a Friday night under the lights like that. It was pretty special, I'm assuming.
Oh, no doubt. I didn't want to get into the revenge game too much because, they beat us last year, and I thought, I thought they upset us a little bit, but our guys remembered that. It's homecoming. We know this, we know who we're playing next and who's coming up, down the pipeline, and, kind of doing the calculations and figure out who has to beat who and all those things. So our kids are savvy enough. They know that. And, just to, put a cherry on top, our athletic director got a helicopter to deliver the game ball to the field. So it dropped down on the 50-yard line, and no one really knew it. The coaches did and a few other people, but our kids were standing there saying, what is going on? So again, it was an unbelievable atmosphere. Our student section ran onto the field after the game. We included them in our post-game kind of talk and celebration. No matter what happens the rest of the year, this game was something that I don't think any of us will forget for a long time. And like you said, that's what high school sports is about. Taking those games and just living it.
Coach, the one negative.
The athletic director, Brian Howell. Is that a shout out to Brian Howell?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Brian Howell was my freshman baseball coach at Otto Marquette probably what we're talking like 25 years ago now or more.
Oh, you're aging yourself, Greg.
So next time you talk to him, just ask him about like the greatest baseball players he ever saw. My name will never come up, but you can ask him.
My question is, Greg, were you gray back then too, or was that just not yet? I kid. Hey, Coach. The one negative thing, and congratulations on the wing, and you probably say this too. When Riverdale wins their 5th game, Brian Stocking, who just joined us, is going to shave his head. So now we don't, and he was probably going to do it live on the air tonight. And we can't hear you. Stockpile, we can't hear you, buddy. I'm sorry. So that's the negative. I mean, maybe.
Hey, Stock, you're in the room. We have Tyler Whitebread, the head coach of Erie Prophetstown now. Coach Whitebread, this is Brian Stocking. He's a loyal Riverdale Ram, but he's also a very avid high school football follower and a member of the media as WQAD's official statistician. Stock, do you have any questions for Coach Whitebread? Be nice now.
Broke your heart tonight, Stockpile.
Well, talk about the last play of the game, because our good friend Bryce Boy posted a video of the last play of the game. What was the mindset going into that last play when Riverdale was trying for the Hail Mary to force to tie it and possibly win it at the end of regulation?
Yeah, that was a crazy last drive. We had to punt the ball. We couldn't get the first down to run the clock out, and Keegan Winkler had an unbelievable punt all the way to the 1 yard line. I said, man, This is perfect. They have no timeouts. They have 1:30 to run the clock, and they did. They dinked and doinked just all the way down the field, and we probably a little bit too much prevent, but we did. They have some studs over there, and we didn't want to get beat on something silly. On the second to last play of the game, they threw a ball to the sideline. The clock ran out. We all said the clock ran out, and they put a second back on there. So we were talking about it. It's like that's where nightmares are made. 1 second left. I think 30 yards to go for it, somewhere around there. And we just told our guys, we said, hey, stand right on the end line and knock the ball down. And we tried to get a pass rush. Their O-line did a nice job. And it's not over till it's over. And, you never get too comfortable just because you've seen crazy endings. And it was an unbelievable feeling when you saw the ball hit the ground because, again, number 2, Tegler out there, he just high points the ball really well. And, again, we were fortunate to knock the ball down.
You would think that you're at home, you would get that 1 second run off. I mean,
we did run it off, and the officials got together, and the white hat said, he said, no, I looked at it, it was 0, and then someone else came running in and said, nope, there's a second left. So they put it back up. I was losing my mind.
Talk about Keegan Winkler's great game. I mean, he had like 3 touchdown runs, a couple of TD passes. The punt that pinned Riverdale at the 1 yard line, that's got to be a wonderful thing to have as an ace in the hole.
Yeah, he's a 3-year starter on defense for us. He's his 2nd year starting at quarterback, and he's always been, at least last year, he was just kind of a running quarterback. And he threw a little bit here and there, but there wasn't a lot of consistency. And he's one of those kids, his dad's our basketball coach, and he's seen it. He's been part of programs, and he had a heck of an off season. Really, his throwing the past 3 or 4 weeks, it's just he's coming into his own. And I think we were talking about it after the game that we've always been a run first team, and after this game, I think some of the teams that we're going to face have to kind of respect our pass. I mean, and he's not thinking back there. It's more reacting, and it's been fun to see, man. He's a great kid, great leader. I'm glad he's on our side.
Yeah. So Stock, you're doing okay. You're doing all right tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the Riverdale Erie Prophetstown game would go to overtime, and that almost made me look real good. But no, I mean, Erie Prophetstown's been playing really well this year. They played well last year, and I think that you look at how good. I mean, that just shows the depth of the conference. That Erie Prophetstown is probably the 3rd best team in that division, where in a lot of conferences they'd be playing for a conference championship, but they're in a division with Rock Ridge, who's unbelievable, Newman, who's really good. I mean, and Erie Prophetstown's very good also. I always said that they were, that game with Riverdale would be a toss-up because both teams are very good.
Coach,
And
I
that's
want
a credit to Coach.
Yeah. Coach, before we let you go, I do want to ask about, kind of that sustained success, year over year, that you want to make sure that it's more than just, one player or one group that goes through that brings you some success. How do you feel about this program overall as you've kind of been here a couple years now and getting things working for you?
Well, I think when you have games like that on that stage against teams like that, good teams, on homecoming, that's a great start. You know, I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen this program. It's just kind of been a roller coaster. Just some good years, some bad years, some good years, some bad years, and I just think at some point when you get enough kids and enough community members just kind of believing in the football program, then it just kind of takes care of itself. And we're not quite there. I think we continue to build towards that, and hopefully we can have a few more games just like tonight and kind of get over that hump, because we're not quite where Newman and Rock Ridge are, but that's where we strive to be.
Yeah, I love it. I think that, you being in this conference and kind of having to go up against them every year makes the program better. So I appreciate you jumping on. And
Coach, one more thing real fast, Coach, before we let you go. You got to enjoy it and all that kind of stuff, but it's 4-2. And there's more games to be played. How much do you let the kids enjoy this? And then, like we mentioned, 4 wins wasn't the goal, obviously, and a good game against Orion, who needs it next week. When do you get back to work and look ahead down the road to what could be and all those type of things?
Yeah, I think Monday. I always tell the guys, celebrate it. We've worked extremely hard for multiple years to get big wins like this against a quality team. And, if you don't celebrate it, then you're just kind of losing part of the process. And, it's not fun. Have fun. That's the point of this. So we'll get back to Monday. We'll probably watch some film of Riverdale and point out some things that we need to do better. And after that, we'll turn the page and we'll start prepping for Orion. And that's how it goes.
Love it. Congrats, Coach.
Yep.
Yeah,
Coach,
thanks,
thanks a lot for jumping in. Congrats on the win, and good luck the rest of the way.
All right. Thanks, fellas. See ya.
See ya.
Awesome.
Hey, we got another look at this cast of characters we got here.
That's the best way to describe it, Greg, is cast of characters.
Amazing, unbelievable. We're joined by Matt Shuckman of Muddy River Sports. Shuck, thanks for being here. We got a lot to talk about with you because there's a lot of teams in your area that are, coming out with some wins.
I'm a little nervous, though. On my drive back from Camp Point, I listened to the start of the show, and Dazzo was throwing some insults your way. So I'm a little leery of what Dazzo's going to throw my way tonight.
Yeah, well,
I don't even realize when I'm insulting you anymore, Greg. Is that because we've been friends for too long, or enemies, or whatever?
That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. So, all right. Well, I do want to.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So I do want to start with Shuck. The reason I really wanted to have you on today is because you were at the Camp Point Central Brown County game. I saw it. We reposted it on our X feed. Parked tailgate up right in the front of the end zone. I love it. Tell me about the atmosphere. Tell me about the game. It's Camp Point Central and Brown County, both undefeated, going up against each other.
You're talking about two schools separated by 20 miles and a county line, and been rivals since birth, basically. For everybody there. And you have a number of people through marriage who one spouse went to Central, the other spouse went to Brown County. So you got a lot of that. One of the Brown County assistant coaches used to be an assistant coach at Central. There's just tons of that, the intertwining of that rivalry, which what it ends up doing is it creates an incredible atmosphere. And I think in all corners of the end zone tonight and, parts of the field, fans were standing 4, 5, 6 deep. I mean, it was what you expect from a Class 1A battle against two rivals who are both state ranked, who are both undefeated. The atmosphere was delightful, and for me, it was fantastic because I get there early. So Camp Point Central allows me to drive in over the track and park the truck in the end zone. And I literally am sitting 10 yards from the back of the end zone on the tailgate of the pickup. And
awesome. I love it.
Thanks to them for letting me do it. But it means I got to get there early. So they want me to get in there and get parked before people start filing in. So I got there at 4:45 today for a 7 o'clock game.
Did you tailgate? Did you bring like a grill? What do we do?
No, I just sat and talked to people.
There you go.
But there were already people in the bleachers at 4:45. As I pulled in, there were people who sat their lawn chairs at different parts of the end zone or sideline and had their lawn chairs laying on the ground, reserving their spot. And I was told those people were there at 9 a.m. putting their lawn chairs down.
It is incredible. So we were talking earlier, I went to the game in Anawan tonight. So it was Anawan-Wethersfield versus Stark County. And most games are played in Kewanee at Wethersfield. And the field at Anawan, though, is just an old school throwback. And it just is incredible. It's amazing. And to what you had tonight sounds very similar. Tell me about, so Camp Point Central comes away with the win. And what was final score? 27-6 over Brown County. And Chuck, I think you maybe thought that Brown County might have an edge in this one, might come away with it, but it's Camp Point Central that is, the dominant, consistent year-over-year, player in this conference.
No doubt. And I don't want to say I bought into some of the hype, but I had not seen Brown County in person, but everybody I had talked to throughout the WIVC or in the media or people or just some of the coaches were just so overly impressed with Brown County's physicality and size up front. And Central doesn't have that much size. Got a ton of speed. That's the way Brad Dixon coaches it. He calls them the fast cats. That's what he wants them to be. And I thought the physicality of Brown County might win out. Well, it turns out the physicality of Central won out. Central won the line of scrimmage tonight, which is what won the game. Brown County got a couple trips, aside from their one touchdown, they had a couple other trips into the red zone and got stuffed. And it's a credit to a Camp Point Central team that actually that was playing without its best defensive lineman. Caden Niekamp, who was a stud as a sophomore on the 2023 team that won the state title, he's been out with a high ankle sprain. He warmed up on the field with his teammates before they went in and put their pads on. He came back out with his pads on, that kind of stuff. Didn't play a snap. And may not play another snap until first round of the playoffs. We'll see. Or just a few snaps here and there to get loose. But they did all this without him. And I was overly impressed with Camp Point Central's defense tonight.
Yeah. The reason I wanted to bring you on is because I think the teams in our area want to know what's down south, right? In that 1A bracket. And to me, I love our area, but man, 1A really gets interesting. And that's why we bring in NUIC football's Kyle Kampmeyer. So Kyle, when you hear that Camp Point Central won because of physicality, that probably says a little bit to you, because I know what it says to you when you're talking about physicality in the NUIC.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where when you come from our area, you love physical football. And that's what I love about Coach Dixon is he really took the steps and processes to study Forston back in 2016 and 17 and Lena Winslow back then. And then he's been able to play Forston and Lena Winslow at the state championships, culminating in that state championship win for him in 2023. And, he's had some good teams prior to that when they were still a co-op with Southeastern, and we're in a 2A field, and then they dropped that co-op and just ran it as a solo school. And since then, and moving into the WIVC corresponding in that same time frame, they've been dominant. And Shuck said, the Fast Cats, Feed the Cats program, Tony Holler and all that stuff. That's all the exact same stuff Lena Winslow uses, and a lot of schools are starting to use it. EPC picked up on it this year, and what you just see, your high-level programs are going through those programs themselves to work on getting faster, getting rest, and being able to recover and recuperate. And yeah, Coach Dixon's got the program down south, and you can put any team you want on that southern bracket right now, and I'll take Camp Point Central to be in Bloomington when we get down there in a couple weeks, or I guess a month and a half or whatever it is. But
yeah, yep. So Shuck, I mean, anything else? What else tonight? That stood out to you?
I think the thing was Camp Point Central was able to complete passes when it needed to complete passes, or when it needed to throw a different wrinkle at Brown County. It was able to. Now the bread and butter is still the wing tee offense and running the ball. They were really good getting to the edge, really good getting to the corners and using their speed. And if you follow Brad Dixon or the Camp Point Central football program on social media, you see him touting their speed workouts in the off season and even during the season. They'll talk, he does a whole ton of analytics when it comes to the speed work and those kind of things, and it pays off. But I still come back to the fact I don't want to say they're small, but they're not overly big up front on either side of the ball. But man, they play hard, they play physical. Jasper Flesner had 120 yards and 3 touchdowns tonight. And I'm going to have to go back and look. That may be it's one of the rare 100-yard games for one of their running backs because they give the ball to so many different people so often. And tonight, he was a workhorse and was really good. And I say 120 yards, I think he had 12 carries.
Yeah.
12 or 15 carries. Or it was something like that. And the other game we were looking at here in the South was Calhoun against Greenfield Northwestern. A lot of people have talked about Hardin Calhoun maybe being the other team coming out of the WIVC that could give a Camp Point Central or a Brown County a challenge. Calhoun barely beat Greenfield Northwestern. I think it was 14-6 tonight. And Camp Point Central played its worst game of the year in week 2 and beat Greenfield by 3 touchdowns. So you can't always compare scores, but you look at it and go, okay, Camp Point Central's for real.
Yeah. Well, and I guess that's really no surprise necessarily, but in a way, like, there were some teams that were coming up that were, ready to make that move. I guess, Kyle, what do you see when you look around this, this 1A field? Stockton is certainly a team that has made their name, made their mark this season, but they're going to have to beat Lena Winslow again to get to a state title game. I guess where do you fall? And do you think that the NUI?
Well, yes, Stockton has that big win over Lena Winslow back in week 2, but let's also remember, one, that was a great win, and we got to talk to Coach Downey last week, and I got him coming on a show in a couple weeks for NUIC All Access, and I'm really excited to have him on. I'm really excited to see where the Blackhawks are at. But the king still resides in Lena Winslow when it comes to the 1A North bracket, and until somebody actually beats them in the playoffs,
yeah,
they're there and they're waiting. And one of the things I took away from that week 2 game is, yes, Stockton had almost perfect execution, but it almost was like they emptied everything out in their playbook too. So they showed a lot where Lena Winslow didn't show much of anything. And I'm not saying that can make waves or anything, but they have that. We got to go watch Newman together actually against Erie Prophetstown here a couple weekends ago. Newman has great athletes, but I don't see the explosion on the line from them that I do out of a Stockton and Alina Winslow right now. And quite honestly, I don't see that out of a lot of teams on the 1A north side of the bracket. Stockton did have a struggle tonight with Galena. They won 30-12, but that was a tight game. And I don't know what it is, but there's just some teams that when they get together, it's tough. Stockton Galena is always that way, and Galena gave Lena Winslow fits last year as well, and they still have to play yet. So, when I look at that 1A north side, yes, I would say Stockton right now is the favorite. There's no doubt about it. I've talked a lot about it actually, and yes, they're the favorite right now, but you still got to go through Lena Winslow, and until somebody actually can beat Lena Winslow, I would still have to say that Lena Winslow's still the odds-on favorite to get back to Bloomington.
Well, Kyle, you're always the Lena Winslow homer, right? That's what everybody calls you.
I know. I
mean,
wish
I
people knew how much I don't like Lena Winslow because they are a rivalry of mine. But
don't tell your wife is going to listen to this. Don't tell her that.
Oh, she knows that. We live it every day.
No, but I think you get called a homer about Lena Winslow, but the facts are what they are. Like, they've won the games. They've won the big playoff games that are, that draw the headlines. So I think to your point that Stockton is great right now, but man, I just really feel like if they're going to get through, at some point, you feel like they're going to run into Lena Winslow again. And who knows? We've talked about Anawan Wethersfield tonight. We've talked about Newman tonight. There's other teams, but on that getting into that south side of the bracket, then is it Camp Point Central? Is it, Brown County potentially? But
so
yeah.
So the south side of the bracket, yeah, going into tonight's game, I had the three teams picked. Camp Point Central, Brown County, Calhoun, exactly like Shuck was stating. Right now, you almost have to say, yes, Camp Point's here, Brown County and Calhoun are right here.
Yep.
And those two got to play yet here in week 9. So that's going to tell us a lot about whether or not Calhoun can be that team that can come back and play with Camp Point Central. But Tuscola's been doing some things. I don't know. I don't see. I just don't see a lot of teams in the South that are going to stand up to what Camp Point Central can do either.
Did you catch Tony or Jeremy Castle has been commenting, and you win 6 state titles, you get some homer treatment, and he's right. And he also called you out and wanted, come on, Kyle, make a pick already.
Yeah, I saw him say that.
No, and we also got Tony chiming in. He believes in Stockton, and for good reason. So
they have a lot going on for them right now, and there's no doubt about that.
And hey, Logan's here to back you up. Logan's got your back here. You are correct. So, all right. Well, Kyle, hang tight. We'll talk to you again in a few minutes. I do want to bring you back in. Let's talk some Western Big Six tonight, because I'm not sure how much you were able to follow along with the Quincy game, but the Quincy Blue Devils get the win 23-21 on the road at United Township. Shuck, we talked about it before the season started. UT was that team that you've said you've doubted in the past and finally thought this year was, you better watch out for them. And man, they have been snake bitten, and Quincy gets the win tonight. Credit to Quincy, and I want you to talk about it, but man, UT they're fighting through it. It's been a tough road.
Well, you sit there and look at what UT's done, especially in the Big Six, and you go, when's it ever going to happen? When are they going to get the breaks to go their way? Back in the late 80s and throughout the 90s, we were saying the same stuff about Quincy High. Yeah. When's Quincy? Because we'd always look at it and go, Quincy's got some athletes. They got some kids getting some D1 looks, and yet they'd go 2-7 or 1-8. And it's like, when are they going to figure it out and get over the hump? I think we've been saying the same thing about UT. And until they win one of these is what it's going to take to get over the hump. They got to win one of these tight ones against a team that's above them in the Big Six standings to then go, okay, we can do this week in and week out.
Yeah.
And they're awfully close. And Rick Little and I discussed it this week leading up to the game. And he's got a ton of respect for Coach Welch and that program and all the work that's gone into making UT as competitive as it is. But they need it. UT needs a signature win. And for those kids, I hope it comes. I hope it comes sometime because the effort they're putting into it, how close they're getting to it, you want to see them get there. Plus it makes the Big Six better. If UT, it just gives the Big Six more depth. And Quincy needed this game so bad after last week's embarrassing effort against Moline. And I was very impressed with Moline and the way Moline ran the ball last week. Quincy played bad. And I think it's a double-sided coin. Moline played really well, which made Quincy look bad at times. And Quincy made a bunch of mistakes. And as that lead grew, you could see the confidence just drain out of Quincy. And the guys talked about it with me after the game that, they needed a bounce back this week, that they could feel it. They could feel not some bickering on the sideline, and not real finger pointing, but it's like, come on, you need to do your job as well as I'm doing mine type of thing. Yeah. And I think they really had some heart-to-hearts this week and figured out a way to win tonight. And I talked to Rick Little on my drive home, and he was just incredibly thrilled with his team's grit tonight to fight through it, to figure out a way to win that game. And then his defense, at the end kind of, dug in, forced UT to attempt a field goal that went short. There were some people who were saying they thought it may have gotten blocked. I don't think it was blocked. According to Coach Little, it looked like the kicker, the snap was high, and he got his foot under the ball a little bit, and that's why it fell short.
Yeah, so there was a play at the end then?
Yeah, UT had I think it was a 43-yard field goal to win it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 39. I mean, we're splitting hairs, but
39, okay,
and I'm not correcting. Yeah, I think 39-40. I just saw Stockpile flip out and he's muted, so keep him that way. So we so yeah, and Shuck kind of mentioned it. It was great atmosphere at the Soul Bowl. Go online and check out some of the pictures and homecoming and pack. That's hard. That's awesome. And Quincy does that all the time. They have to come to tough environments up here, and yes, they've traveled. I'm not saying, but it's a hard trip for Quincy to make and in mass and all that. So really, Quincy went up 23-21 and UT had some time and they got it down the field. Hats off to Quincy because I think it was 1st and 10 from the 23, and they probably needed another 10 yards to get to more realistic field goal range. And Quincy came up and made some nice plays on defense, forced him to that longer field goal. And I think I read maybe halfway to the end zone or halfway through the end zone. So that 10 yards that they talked about. So huge victory for Quincy down the stretch. And you guys mentioned it. It's just they kind of feel if you get one, they'll start coming for you. And you look United Township big picture wise, 2 very winnable games against Rock Island and Alleman left. That gets them to 5. That gets them into the postseason. Yeah. I think they play expect. And then there's a game against Moline. And man, I've seen Moline and I've watched them and Shuck, you saw them and all that. Yep. They're really, really good. It's a great rivalry game. I'm not writing off United Township at all. I'm intrigued by that week 8 game. And I want to every part of me is man, that's going to be a really good football game. And then I watch. And then I go back and look at the stats for Moline and do that kind of stuff. So, but an intriguing matchup in week 8 as well with Moline going to UT. So I think it's still out there for Moline or for UT, excuse me. But you guys mentioned, they're 2 to 5 plays away from being 6-0. I mean, it's crazy, and it happened again tonight. Unfortunate, but like those guys will continue. And Shuck kind of mentioned it too. Like they don't come much better than Coach Welch. He'll have those guys ready. They'll reload and all those kind of things, and they'll just keep grinding like they always do.
Dazzo, it's interesting you mentioned the atmosphere at the Soul Bowl, and I was telling Coach Little this many moons ago. The first Western Big Six Conference football road game I ever covered was at the Soul Bowl.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
I think it's one of the most underrated atmospheres, especially when they're filling it like they are these days, and there's excitement around the program. But I mean, we did a stadium series during COVID just so they didn't fire us and they gave us something to do or lay us off or whatever. And like UT is sleepy, like cutting the hillside, great atmosphere, environment, all that kind of stuff. So
well, on our Speak of the Devils show we do each week with Coach Little, he and I discussed this past week that in the coming weeks, we're going to do rank the Big Six football venues.
Ooh,
yes.
It's
love
good.
it.
I mean, I'm telling you, and like Geneseo, because I was at Moline today for my show, and they've done a great job. And honestly, Browning Field, I know, sorry, Moline fans, but it wasn't there. Like, I mean, there's been great games there in history and all those kind of things. I get it, but like, and they've done a great job with the new field and the new turf, and they've got restrooms now, which is awesome. And you're not peeing in a trough, which is awesome. But they also have, so they matched the brick. They did a good job of taking the history and the newness. And I think Bob Reedfield did that too. Like they've upgraded with lights and field and all of those kind of things, but they keep the victory bell and they do. And then, gosh, you could get me going all night, but Sterling looks like a D1 stadium with like columns behind it.
Sterling's facility.
And then Rocky's Rocky. I mean, come on. I mean, that was number one for us. I got to go back to it, but I want to think it was Rock Island 1, Sterling 2, probably Bob Reedfield 3, and then Soul Bowl was 4. And a sneaky good one, and I haven't been down there in a minute, and Greg's going to make a joke about it probably when I get done rambling, but Galesburg is with the new look there too is really good as well. So I feel like I just did your show for you, but I'm going to listen to that. I want to know. So
I love it.
Yeah, I feel like I'll add into that. I feel like if Galesburg ever had a couple years of success where there was a lot of excitement around it, man, that place to go to watch a football game is excellent now, what they've done with their renovations. Admittedly, I've never been to Quincy.
Lazy.
In my life.
Lazy. So Quincy, the city? Or just
I've
the
never
stadium?
been to Quincy at all, ever.
Shuck, look at Shuck. He's disgusted.
In me.
He couldn't even have words. There was no words. He just went, bah, bah. He reminded me of my dad back in the day when I did something stupid. He just went, bah.
You're talking to a guy who has made Lord knows how many road trips to the Quad Cities.
You know what?
Greg, I would carpool down to Quincy with you if we were ever invited to be on a truck. I'm just saying.
You're all welcome. I think we should do a REAX show from the bed of the truck one night.
Oh, okay. So I will say, you know who we should blame, Dazzo, for why I've never made a trip to Quincy? We need to blame Chris Dewar because he was always sending us video, so no one ever went down there.
Shuck, you can help me on the day or the year probably, but I went down to Quincy for a basketball game. It was a regional championship with Quincy. Ryan Weber was with Moline, lead Moline. Yep. I can't remember the year. I don't even remember who won. I think Moline did win.
Okay, I got to think this through now. Because
Webb's been to like every Western Big Six team at least 3 times coaching wise, but no, and so we went down there, unreal. Like, and my son was a freshman at Alleman this year and played sophomore stuff and went down to and he's just like, man, Dad, the everything is just wow. I'm like,
did I tell you about the idea where we have for Blue Devil Gym? I don't know if we can pull it off, but somebody threw the idea of getting the local Toyota dealership, Schottenkirk, sponsors Shuck on a Truck.
Yeah. Of
getting them to cut off the end of a truck, and not the whole bed, but just kind of the end so we have the tailgate, and have it mounted on a something that you can roll into a gym through the doors, and have a spot where we could do Shuck on a Truck at Blue Devil Gym every home game.
See, I gotta Chuck, we got to chat because you got such great ideas. I got to spice up my show a little bit. Like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I feel like he's dominating life and I'm just trying to off the air. Oh, that's real inventive. I mean, we just got to talk.
I mean, Chris Dewar joins us and he gets invited to be on Off the Air. I've never been invited.
Duly noted. I'm writing it down right now. Duly noted.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Dazzo.
So I guess overall, we've talked both about, big picture for the Western Big Six. Moline is, the favorite at this very moment, and they've beaten Quincy. They got United Township waiting. But looking at Quincy, they got Galesburg next week and then Sterling and Geneseo. So I think their favorite next week at home against Galesburg. And then those next 2 weeks get real interesting.
Yep.
Where's the Sterling game at?
It's at Sterling.
Sterling game's at Sterling.
And that'll be a fantastic game. That'll be a fantastic football game.
And looking at that schedule is what made tonight so important for the Blue Devils.
Yep.
Because if had they lost tonight, you're sitting there 3-3. You expect to beat Galesburg. Now you're 4-3, and you have to go to Sterling, and then you got to come home for Geneseo in week 9.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, week 9 isn't we got to win to get in.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So, Dazzo, I'll put you then up with United Township's schedule. So they have Rocky, Alleman, and Moline left. So you think they have 2 wins in there, but now it's kind of you can't make any more mistakes, right?
Yeah, and I mean, and no disrespect to my alma mater, and then I got the helmet right here, and so I can say it, but they should win 2 of those games, and Rock Island, and I love Fritz, and a fantastic human being, but they're just struggling this year. They're losing tonight 62-7, and Moline's gonna make a lot of teams look bad, but like. With that being said, United Township, and it's a sneaky, interesting game. And I was at Moline today, and I can't say enough good things about Moline. But I don't know if that's a blowout. I don't know if that's I think United Township and the way that rivalry is, and I love how the coaches embrace it. In fact, the 2 athletic directors are going to come on my show because they're going to wager on football, on boys basketball, and on baseball. So Todd Thompson and Scott Harding are going to, and so the first one is football. And it's a great rivalry. Yes, they're the underdogs in that game, United Township and all those kind of things, but they should get to 5 victories. And that's, I know it's a big thing, 25 years and all those kind of things, but I think a lot of people are still left with what if. But I mean, you can look at it 2 ways. You can be close and be in these fantastic football games, or you could be getting blown out. And it wasn't that long ago, that United Township wasn't very competitive at all. So I get it. You want to get to that point where you're winning these games, but it's a process. You don't just flip a switch, and it's hard. And hey, I put my Dan Campbell up earlier because you said grit. Shuck, nobody noticed it, but I had my little Dan Campbell thing going.
I saw it. I didn't know what the heck you were doing.
So, but as it's the same thing with Illini football, same thing with Detroit Lions football. I mean, when you've been snake bitten for so long, you just have to learn how to win. And it's not like these kids don't know how to win. It's not like the coaches don't know how to win. It's just what's around the program and all of those kind of things. It's getting over that hump, and it's not a flip of a switch. And Nick Welch is doing an amazing job. And they've dealt with some injuries too and all those kind of things. And Shuck mentioned it, Quincy needed that victory too. That's why that game was so fascinating, because it was a must-win not must-win because UT moves on, and it's not I don't want to be doom and gloom like Stockpile up there who's working really hard, but it was an important game for both teams. So hats off to Quincy, and UT's still a playoff team. They'll still make the playoffs, but what ifs obviously will be left.
But you mentioned the learning to win process. You can ask Rick Little about it. Go back to when he took the Quincy job, and here's the thing. I was driving back. My wife, then my girlfriend, was living in Chicago, and I'm driving back to Quincy from Chicago, and I'm coming around Bloomington, and Rick calls me to talk about whether he should take the job or not. Could he win at Quincy? Because nobody could figure out, and it was called a coach killer job, and it took him several years to get these kids to get to that point where it was okay, we won a big game. We expect to win now. It took a long time to get to where now they go into every game expecting to win. But it took a really long time. And I think when you flip that switch, and when UT flips that switch, watch out.
I said it earlier in the year that I thought Geneseo was the team that among, the United Township or the Quincy or Moline, the teams that we thought were the favorites, the 3 top-end teams, I thought Geneseo was going to get one of those games. And they did. And they got that game against United Township. I think now, flipping the script,
yeah.
I think there's still a chance that United Township gets that win against Moline. It's going to be at the Soul Bowl, and they're at home in week 8.
Right.
They're going to be more than motivated based on what's happened so far this year. I just think we have to remember, I guess we can't forget kind of what we thought about United Township early in the season to where they are now. There's been some close losses, but still the end result doesn't necessarily dictate the entire game. They were in these games. They were so close to winning. And man, if things go right against Moline in that game, they could win it. Moline looks really good. I'm not trying to discount that if Morrissey's listening or anybody else, but I'm saying this United Township team has a ton of talent. Dazzo, you're ready to talk. Go ahead.
It's funny because I'll compare it to a little bit because I do everything the University of Iowa, and I had Pat Anger on the show, and he's like, everyone's flipping out because Iowa lost to top 15 teams by a combined whatever point, 1 score or less. And it's like, don't forget it's still a good football team. And I think that's a great point with United Township. Don't flip out the fact they lost those 3 games. It's the fact that they were so close against good teams. Honestly, you're not going to, when you're losing to Sterling and a John Schleimer coach team, and you're losing to Geneseo the way it happened, and you're losing to Quincy tonight. Those are 3 playoff teams. So just pump the brakes. It's not all doom and gloom and all those kind of things as well. I have a rant about referees and people complaining about referees that I want to do before we leave, but I won't do that right now.
We'll save it. For a few minutes. Shuck, feel free to stick around and listen, and we'll have you chime in here before we're all done.
Well, I do have some work I do have to
get out of here.
Okay.
But I've got 2 things before I leave.
Yeah.
Okay, Dazzo, I got an idea for you for off the air.
Yes.
Dazzo. And it could be a segment where something happens that leaves you dazzled.
I love it. I'm writing it down. I got a pen. I'm writing it down.
There you
He's
go.
had that name
and the other one's for
life,
Kyle.
Never
Kyle,
it.
the fact that people call you a Lee Win homer, don't worry about it. Because I get called a Quincy homer so many places, especially when I go across town to Quincy Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I love it.
Chuck, I appreciate you, man. Love
you.
Thanks,
brother.
Thanks
we appreciate it.
in.
That was fun.
Love it, guys. Can't wait to do it again. And we're doing a Shuck on a Truck, and I would love to have everybody in the bed when we do one.
That sounds inappropriate. That sounds very inappropriate, but we'll move on. I think it's time for Shuck to go.
Bed of the truck.
All right. That too.
All right, get to some writing, because I hear that you and Chris Dewar are awake till 4 a.m. on these nights. So get your writing done and go to bed.
Tell Chris we all said hello. He's the best.
Yep.
We'll do. We both were at the same game tonight, so he better be getting some good highlights put together right now.
I'm sure he does.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks a lot, buddy. All right. Hey, we had.
Thanks, fellas.
Yep.
See you, Shuck.
All right. So we had our friend Weather on the Go gives us a stat that Dixon has outscored opponents 229-0 since their week 2 loss to Byron.
Wow.
So let me pull that back up again. Dixon only giving up 178 total yards since week 2 as well. For any stat people out there, Brian, do we have a stat person here?
I would hope. I mean, that's a great stat. I mean, that's a tremendous stat, and it's going to be interesting to see where Dixon ends up. I think really the Big Northern is just Dixon and Byron, and everyone else is playing for third place.
Well, here, Stocking, can you see the scores? I would love for you to read scoreboards for me.
All right, Byron defeats Dupek tonight 42-14. They were down and came at halftime, came back and won it. Dixon blanks Stillman Valley 55-0. Oregon beats North Boone 45-13. Genoa and Kingston over Rockford Lutheran 63-14. And Bago beats Rock Falls 44-12.
Oh, look at you getting so hip and calling them Bago. Not even
Hey,
saying
they scored
Winnebago.
30 points. They scored the final 30 points of that game against Rock Falls.
And,
He's a machine, folks. He's a machine.
well, and Stock, here's the thing. On the Instant REAX podcast, we have all night. You can talk as slow as you want. You don't have to rush through it.
I wasn't rushing. I mean,
he sounded a little rushed. Am I right, boys? He sounded
Yes.
a little rushed.
the great ones are never rushed. I'm not a great one.
Wow.
Oh, Stock, I love you. All right, so I would say a lot of these scores went as expected. I think the Oregon over North Boone game with a bigger outcome there, 45-13. But the game I really want to talk about is that Byron 42-14 win over Dupek. Kyle, this game was close early, and at halftime, Dupek had the lead. But man, it was Byron really flexing their muscles. We got some highlights from this game. Caden Considine, man, he is tough to take down. You see it here. He fights through a tackle and then just breaks through and outruns everybody. What an effort from Caden Considine. They call him Conzi on the broadcast. I don't know if I'm good enough friends with him to call him that, but, you know, Caden Considine's a load. Talk to me about what you think about this Dupek performance here tonight, Kyle.
I was going to say Sean calls him Cato, so that's probably more affectionate.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
But, you know, that run right there that you just showed, that to me was the dagger in the heart for Dupek. Dupek put up a very great defensive effort. You know, their first touchdown was set up on a huge kick return that then also led to a horse collar penalty, which gave them the ball on the 15-yard line for Byron to answer the touchdown that Byron had scored first. And then Dupek was able to punch it in. But realistically, you know, I felt like Byron was actually always in control of this game. They could just move the ball at will. But Dupek, like I said, they put up a great effort. Brady Moore caught a big pass on the left sideline over his shoulder with perfect coverage on top of him. I don't even know how he came down with the pass, but that just set the Dupek crowd off, rightfully so, because they kicked the extra point, and that gave them the lead 14-12. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, maybe my projections aren't so bad after all. And then Byron showed up in the second half. You know, and I talked about it on our podcast, and I was talking with some people tonight. You know, I could see it anywhere from a 2 to 4 touchdown differential in favor of Byron. And, you know, they did that. And, you know, Constantine had over 200 yards tonight and, you know, just was able to do some big things offensively. And that's one of the things that Byron just does great. One, they do a good job of hiding the ball, but they just fire off the line, and they're so low when they fire off. I mean, their line isn't as big as what we've seen in recent years, but just the speed and the strength and the power, it's crazy. I mean, they're just on another level.
Yeah, I think they're playing great football this season, and they've clearly separated themselves. We've talked a lot about how good Dixon has been, you know, outside of their one loss to Byron. But looking around that 3A bracket, Kyle, I do think, like, Dupek caught my eye a little bit. Like, I'll be honest, I was hesitant to really put them in the rankings in the top 10 in the state, and I didn't know how far to put them up the rankings in the state. But this kind of catches my eye to think, like, they can hang with some very good 3A football.
Yes, they do. And, you know, there's only a couple teams in this 3A North bracket that I look at, and I'm like, that'll be tough. But then you look at every other team in the 3A North bracket, it's tough for all of them on these couple said teams. The rest of it, though, is, it's a gauntlet. I mean, you're going to have Monmouth Roseville's going to be in there. Bishop McNamara is going to be in there. Chicago Hope's going to be in there. Princeton will be in there. Byron, obviously. Bloomington Central Catholic potentially could be moved into the north part of the bracket. Richmond Burton, with their enrollment drop, is falling into the 3A bracket. And then, of course, IC Catholic. And, oh my gosh, you look at the games that they have on their schedule. I mean, their average schedule is a 6A schedule, but then you look at the teams that they play, and it's like, holy moly. But who's the one team that's most familiar with them? Byron. You know, and you just go back to 2017, 2018, and you take a look at what Byron's done since those seasons, and they've shown and proven that they compete with the top private schools that always tend to fall into the 3A class. But you know, even with things worked out, IC Catholic, like I said before, IC Catholic, to me, they are a 3A school. They just have a very tough schedule now that they've moved into that Chicago Catholic League.
Yeah. Hey, I do want to point out, so Jesse brings up, we need to stop bragging about Dixon. They should be dominating in a conference where they're nearly double the enrollment size of most teams they play. Now, Kyle, I will say this sounds a lot like the arguments you hear from Dupec. And also, I will say that when Dupec get in the playoffs, they've had some success in 3A. When Dixon went into the 4A playoffs last year, they had success. It's yet to be determined what they do in 4A moving forward. But I think regardless of whether it's 3A teams they're playing, 4A teams they're playing in the regular season, this Dixon team won playoff games a year ago, and I think they're set up to do it again.
Yes, I mean, when you take a look at like the teams that are going to be in 4A North, I mean, you're talking about a Marengo. You're looking at a couple Chicago Public League schools that you're like, meh. Geneseo is going to be in there, which, you know, I don't know. There's not a lot of real strength in 4A North, to be honest. And you know, one of the things I always look at too is people are always going off of IHSA, and they're so like glued into this outlook that IHSA does a great job putting out, and they put all these enrollment ranges in there, but it's like you realize that half those enrollments aren't even correct because that range is going to shift as teams qualify for the playoffs and whatnot, and some people are just like so glued to it. It's like, it's not even, I mean, the only factual information is what team it is, how many wins they have, and opponents' wins and enrollment. That's the only factual information in that thing. All right. The rest of it has nothing to do with how teams are going to project and what classifications they're actually going to fall into. But, oh man, yeah. The whole classification talk, when you're talking 3A, 4A, I really don't care because I've seen 3A teams that could beat 4A teams and vice versa. We watched a 1A team beat a 5A playoff team that made the quarterfinals last year, who's going to be in the 4A playoffs this year.
Yep.
Is that normal? No, that's not normal. But does it happen? Yes. You know, everybody talks about how watered down the playoffs are right now with 8 classes. Most people that are making that argument have no realization that most of the teams that are in Class 3A on a regular basis would technically fall into Class 2A if they cut back classifications. And realistically, outside of a select few teams, there's very few differences between 1A to 3A football. We've seen there's not even a single conference in the state of Illinois that is primarily a 1A conference. Your smallest conferences, the WIVC, the NUIC, they have 3A schools in them. and or have had other 3A schools in them.
Yep.
To me, it's competition. Competition is competition.
Yep.
Is it tough when you have a school that has 200 kids and only 40 boys go out for football, going up against a team that has 500 kids and they got 60 kids on the sideline? Yeah, that is tough. That doesn't mean that they can't compete, though, if you have a good program put together and your top programs don't care about how big a school is. They just do what they do and they go out there and get it done.
I will say,
and 3A to 4A, there's no difference, really.
Yep.
3A to 4A is no difference.
I will say, speaking specifically about Dixon, I will say to end this argument, I think Dixon is better off. They're getting challenged week in and week out more often in the Big Northern, maybe against some teams that are a little bit smaller than them. Fine, sure. They're getting challenged more in that conference than they would be if they played Streeter or LaSalle Peru or Ottawa or some of the other schools that historically have not been good year in and year out. Those are bigger schools, right? But they have not been good year in and year out in a football sense. So if anyone from my hometown area is listening, they're going to hate me because I just called out all those schools. But I think that's the truth. I think Dixon is getting a better challenge in the conference they're in now in the Big Northern. So I think let's put this notion to bed that because they're the biggest school in the Big Northern, that of course they should win. That's not what it's all about. So anyway, I thought it was interesting, and I knew Kyle would have opinions. So that's why we brought it up on the Instant Reacts. So
Love it.
All right. I think we've gone through every conference, correct, boys? We've done
Greg,
the LLC. What's that?
The Three Rivers. I just got two quick things on the Three Rivers, not to go way back into it, but
No,
we
you're
were
good.
wondering about Monmouth Roseville and how many
Yes.
passing attempts.
Yes.
They were 4 of 8 passing. They passed the ball 8 times tonight, courtesy
Okay.
of Jamie Smith. So, and then also congratulations to Sam Graves. We talked to him last week about tying Rick Amy for the school's all-time winningest coach. He becomes the school's all-time winningest coach tonight with that victory, 81 career victories at Rock Ridge. So they're probably celebrating at the Wheatley household as we speak. And so they can all raise a Kool-Aid or sparkling water or whatever we're having over there. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Ty. To Coach Graves, congratulations on becoming Rock Ridge's all-time winningest coach.
Well, Dazzo, if you got to hop off real quick and drive down there, I don't blame you. You know, you just go for it.
I never get invited.
Yeah.
My phone, they all
Hey,
got my number.
I got invited tonight, but I had commitments here, so I didn't go.
Look at
you
this dedication.
wanted to come see Stockpile. Don't act like this is a chore for you.
Brian Stocking is one of my favorite people on this whole planet, and anytime I get the chance to see him, even virtually, I have to take the opportunity to do so. So yes, that's the main reason I'm here, is to see my good friend Brian Stocking. How you doing tonight, Stocking? How you doing, man?
Oh, he's muted.
And,
here we go.
No, he's muted.
Doc, start talking. You were muted. I'm sorry, my friend.
I'm feeling well. I mean, I'm getting stuff done. I'm listening. I'm getting knowledge from Shuck, from Kyle. I mean,
From Dazzo, from Greg, from Ty.
What about me?
Well, I haven't heard Ty speak. I mean, I didn't know if
At one point, I think I saw Ty not off in the bottom corner. Like, I think he was in one of these, and then, so.
No.
Well, he had a rough game tonight. I mean, 50-7. I mean,
Katie showed up early, didn't she? Stockpile.
Katie was there quite early. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Stocking. What is Katie gonna be there tomorrow in Sterling? You think?
Yeah, I think Katie will be there quite early. Also, she'll be making an early house call to Newman. The Hall game.
I gotta remember to say that tomorrow.
Please.
If it happens.
Yes.
If it happens.
The Hall game, Dylan Glenn, the Hall quarterback, was taken out of had to leave the game with an injury. And Hall really gave Princeton a run for it. Gutsy effort by Hall. And also, when he was, after he left, it was 14-6. Hall scored a touchdown, made it 14-12. Didn't get the conversion, and then Princeton tacked on a couple of late scores to make the game look a lot worse than it actually was. It was a close game. I mean, Hall led for most. Hall took the lead 6-0. I think they led for most of the first half. So a very game and gutsy effort by Hall.
Stock, the scoreboard's up for the Three Rivers. Give us the rundown here. We'll
All right,
recap
we will
everything.
go.
And go.
All right, Monmouth Roseville defeats Sherrard tonight 49-13. Mendota, big score. They score 45 against Kiwani. They beat the Boilermakers 45-13. Princeton outlasts a gutty Hall team 28-12. Rockridge rolls over Orion 50-7. And in a thriller, maybe one of the best games of the year, Erie Prophetstown edges Riverdale 42-36. Newman will be hosting Mercer County tomorrow night.
Dang, he's good, boys.
That's tomorrow afternoon.
That was well paced.
1
Stock
o'clock
Pop.
in Sterling.
Yep.
You can check out the call in WRMJ with our good friend Ty Taylor.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Do that if you're not doing anything tomorrow. Oh, my God.
Chicken George, though. Chicken George.
Chicken George in the press box.
You might have a better rating than the Cub game. I mean,
yeah. We'll see. We'll see how many people are still tuned in to the second half kickoff.
Kyle, give us the recap here of the Northwest Upstate Illini.
So Stockton beats Galena 30-12. We already talked about Byron beating Dupec 42-14 in the non-conference game. EPC gets the big win over Forreston 51-24. EPC was on life support going into this game. Clearly not. Dravenzier crosses the 1,000-yard mark for the season already. So congratulations to him on that. Lena Winslow beats Morrison 46-7. And Ty Taylor's uncle, Coach Lower, 55-14 over Dakota.
Kyle, talk about that Forreston EPC game. I know you talked about it a lot with Logan on your podcast. This was a very important game for both teams, but really for EPC in the position they were in. And to come away with a convincing win. I've been impressed with Dravenzier, but he had been bottled up in a couple games. To get this kind of performance is huge.
Yes. So obviously we've had a couple different scenarios take place. So originally when the season broke out, last week's game between Forreston and Galena was my game to watch on who would be in the playoff picture. Galena got the upset win over EPC that kind of catapulted Galena further ahead and then helped readily solidify their spot in the playoffs. Likewise, Forreston then upsets Galena last week, which also needed to happen if Forreston wanted to have a shot of getting into the playoffs. That, combined with EPC losing to Galena and EPC still having big games coming up on their schedule with Lena Winslow and Stockton, made this a must-win game for EPC to hold on to their playoff life. But then on top of that would be the only way that we could see 6 NUIC teams get into the playoffs this year, provided that those teams then win out the games that they're supposed to win out. So, I mean, barring upsets from like a Fulton or a Morrison over some of these teams that still have to play them, we should see 6 NUIC teams in the playoff field now because of EPC's win tonight.
Let's be honest. We deserve 6 teams in the NUIC 1A North bracket. We need that. That's the best football we're going to get, in my opinion.
Yes, I mean, okay, yeah, people are going to be like, well, you're a homer. But when you look at rating systems and whatnot, like Fulton is a top 32 team. Yeah. Morrison is actually a top 32 team. And in my opinion, I take a look at how those teams would play in other conferences. And me and Logan were talking about this earlier this week as well, that they would be a playoff team in the WIVC. They'd be a playoff team in the Lincoln Land Conference. And, you know, sometimes everybody's like, well, man, they left the Three Rivers. Well, the Three Rivers wasn't a good fit for them, but at the same time, the NUIC is just that it's got the notion behind it that it's tough, and especially now because we don't have two divisions anymore either. That took away more playoff teams that we used to get, and being in that single division, it makes it tougher to get wins. But yeah, I mean, Fulton, obviously, the big drubbing win that they had over Dakota, and granted it's Dakota, but everybody knows about their struggle, so it's not a bash on Dakota, but they're struggling hard right now with a lot of youth and not a lot of numbers. And for Fulton to just annihilate them that way it speaks to how deep Fulton can be and the youth that they have that they're also working with.
Well, talk about the fact that Dakota just got a win against Rockford Lutheran in a non-conference game. So that shows the strength of this conference, that Dakota gets a non-conference win, but then in conference they struggle against another team that's struggling in conference. Like, it just shows you the strength. Hey, Stock, is Cuff back there?
Yes, he is.
Let's bring in Corey Cuffler here. Casey Kerfler.
Hey, wait, are you talking about a Dakota team that beat Rockford Lutheran, a 1A to a 3A school?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, bud.
Oh.
I didn't do anything.
Hey, Cuff.
I can't hear. Stocking messed this whole thing up.
Oh, no.
Just give Corey the headphones.
Yeah,
you can go in the wind tunnel.
Yep.
All right,
Hello?
I can hear you now.
Hey, Cuff.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, bud. What'd you cover tonight? What'd you see?
I went to Moline Rocky.
Okay.
And was there for 2 series for Moline. It was 14-0, and I left.
Yep.
So I got the punt block by, gosh, I can't remember who it was now. Anyway, there was a punt block and recovered in the end zone for a touchdown, and then they scored on the next possession as well. Ponder to Cason Ponder to Nolan Ducey.
Yep.
Went over to UT Quincy. Quincy scored just before the half, tied at 7. They looked pretty good, actually. Quincy did. But then after that, I was over to the wrong side of the state, and doesn't apply to anything you guys are talking about.
Man, so you three games in one night, Cuff?
Yeah.
Oh, that is an epic. That's an epic evening. Well done, my friend.
Yeah,
well done.
Great. And we even had a little filet mignon on the score tonight.
What?
What? Oh my God.
You get rid of my salary and you upgrade. That's not right. Jeez.
Man, I
exactly
missed
right.
out on filet.
Yeah.
I took the wrong week to. You know what? Blame Mitch, because Mitch, being in Los Angeles, hanging out with celebrities and hobnobbing and doing his thing, meant I couldn't shoot for you tonight. So
I know. Although you made the trip to Anawan, I see.
I did. I made a brief stop. I was there for not even the first half, and then I had to get home. But I got to hang out with Dan Pearson on the sidelines for a while, which was fun.
Wow,
So,
those are legends out there.
It was a good time. It was a good time. So, Cuff, give me your thoughts on, Moline is the favorite here moving forward, but I mean, Moline UT is still an interesting game down the road.
Yeah, it is. UT's a little banged up. I know they're missing some guys in the backfield. Defensively, they did look pretty good against the pass with Quincy. Quincy just kind of overpowered them at points, but they still look pretty good. But yeah, I definitely think Moline's a team to beat. Their ground game is so good.
Yeah.
With Eli Warren and Mark Carey, they're tough. They're so tough to stop. And the game against Rock Island, it got out of hand really quick. I think it was 40-0 at half. So. Yeah, they're the team to beat. They got Allman next week, and as long as they're not looking too far ahead, they got UT week 8, and yeah, that potentially could seal the Big Six for them for sure.
Cuff, how was Stockpile's performance tonight? Did he mess anything up?
I would give him.
He can't even hear us right now. Look at him. He can't even hear us. It's so great.
75%, we'll say.
All right, that's not bad. C's get degrees. C's get degrees. Right, Stockpile? Just say right, Stockpile?
Nod your head and say yes.
No. I don't know what I'm agreeing to, so no.
He's too
well
smart
played.
to do that.
Yeah, he is.
Cuff, last week, Caesar, your photographer Caesar, and I agreed that we were the tag team
I don't
champions
agree
of
to
the world
anything unless I hear it.
because I shot the highlights, he showed up and got the post game at Rock Ridge, so we agreed that we're the wrestling tag team champions of the world here.
Absolutely, you are. You know, Caesar made the trip to Hazel Green, Wisconsin, to cover the Stockton-Galena game tonight.
He is a legend. He is an all-star.
Yeah.
Just make sure he doesn't hit a deer on the way home.
Oh, he's about home. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Okay,
tonight.
good man.
He's not going to Decorus, so he's good.
Good
he
man.
made the trip. I think it's the first time, Daz, and you can say yes or no to this one. I don't think we've ever had a game that was from Wisconsin.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I want to say, who went up there? Like, was UT went
Well,
up there?
high school wise.
Yeah, but UT went up there a few years ago, like last year, but we didn't go.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
The
He's
only
best.
way we were going to Wisconsin is if Moline or Alban went there. Let's be honest,
Let's
Cuff.
be honest. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yep. So.
But
Cuff, great to see you. Great you could bounce in here and give us some insights. So glad Stocking did okay tonight. Well, you know.
He was adequate, yeah.
Look at him with all his wisdom right there. What's going through his mind right now?
I don't know.
He's gonna listen to this. I'm gonna get a text tomorrow. He's gonna cuss me out or something.
I was not 75%. It's great. Like when he'll call or like I'll call him, like my kids get ready because it's always, hey, Dazzo. And my kids get ready for it. It's the best. He's the best. Stockpile, we love you. Look at him.
He is.
Tell him
Yeah.
He is the best.
Who?
all of them.
What am I telling them?
You love him. He's not listening. He won't do
Yeah.
it. All right, I'm gonna give Stocky back the
All right,
headphones.
You know,
Cuff,
all
very
right,
good.
thanks, buddy.
See you, buddy.
No worries.
It just is really sad when your love isn't reciprocated, man.
Yeah, well,
You know,
story of my life, Ty.
tale as old as time.
You back in, Stock?
I think so, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
Give us the gold, Stock. What's the gold tonight? We need the info.
All right, let's see here now. Oh, let's see here now. I got so much.
So much.
So much gold, so little time.
Yeah, Milledgeville is 16-1 in the last 17 home games. 10 of those times they have scored 50 points or more.
That's pretty deep. That's good. Kyle, did you
That's
know
good
that?
stuff.
I knew that only because he's already posted it to X and I've already retweeted it.
And I got one for tomorrow. Well, I've already given it to Ty, so he already knows this. Newman has won their last 12 regular season home games on Saturday, home or away. Their last loss on a Saturday was to Morrison in 2019.
Look at that.
Are
You
talking
don't get that
regular-
kind of
you
stuff
talking
elsewhere.
regular season?
Regular season, yeah.
Okay.
Regular
'cause
season, 12 regular season games on a Saturday. They've won in a row.
That's okay. That's fair. That's good.
And-
That's
Come
good.
on, Golden Eagles.
And Mirko, their last Saturday game in the regular season was the COVID season of 2020. It was that first Saturday they played Princeville at the Soul Bowl.
Wow, that is
Wow.
really. There's some obscure stat for you, Ty.
That I will say this with full confidence. That has to be the most irrelevant game ever played at the Soul Bowl.
What?
Mercer County versus Princeville. You couldn't pay me to go to a Mercer County versus Princeville game.
Ty, I think
Absolutely.
people have paid you to go to that game before.
Yeah.
I've never
think
been
so.
paid
Like,
to go
literally.
to. I had to play in too many games that were Mercer County versus Princeville, and I'll never go to one ever again.
I think you covered like Mercer County, Lewistown. I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, that was John Hoshite. That was not me, thankfully.
All right.
Greg,
Stock-
before we go, Greg, before we go, can I give a little tiny rant on officials?
No, you will. You will. I'm still waiting for Stock to get all his gold laid out.
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
I'm
table
sorry.
I
here.
gave you some.
You got no more?
Well, I got. Let's see.
He's like, you calling me out? I got more.
Yeah. Let's see. Quincy's won their last 11 road games in the regular season.
There you go.
Let's see. Moline is 13-2 in their last 15 home games of the Western Big Six. So, I think that's more than plenty for you to chew on.
All right, we've exhausted Stocking tonight.
No, I'm not exhausted. I'm ceding the floor to the esteemed Matt Randazzo.
Oh,
No.
there's no need to seed something wherever. What did you just say?
Cede the floor to the esteemed Matt Randazzo.
All right,
Ratman Dazzo.
Let's Dazzo, you have the floor, and then before we all wrap up, Ty and Kyle will give everybody their final thoughts. And Stock, you always get the last word because it's what happens. But
No,
All right.
my tiny little thing. It's not like a big thing, and it's not about any. I've literally seen, I think, in the last, this season, way too many clips of officials making mistakes. I got some breaking news for you guys. They're going to make mistakes. They're human beings. They're not out there trying to screw anybody's school over or screw anything up on a Friday night. And it's a tiny bit frustrating because you look in college, you look at the NFL, they have checks and balances, they have reviews, they have camera angles and all this kind of stuff. These guys are out there, and there's a shortage of officials. So the next time you complain about playing a Thursday game because they don't have officials, or the next time you complain about playing a Saturday game because they don't have enough officials, I get it. I get the frustration, but we don't always have to take to social media to bash a bunch of guys that are working their butts off on Friday nights. They make mistakes. And the majority of the stuff I've seen, completely agree. Like, I'm not saying that you're right or wrong and all those kind of stuff, but just remember it's high school football. They're out there doing their best. They have no skin in the game. And guess what? They don't make enough money for them to have to go to social media the next day and be hammered for the work that they did do the night before. So my little bit of rant, I get the frustrations. Lots of them. This isn't addressing anything I've seen tonight or recently. It just seems like every time I get on social media around like the weekend, it's like there's like 3 or 4 or 5 people and I get it. And your team, yes, probably did get the short end of the straw. I've seen a couple of them tonight. Probably is the case. I'm not saying they did or didn't, but referees, I hate. And I have friends that are referees and officials. But remember, like, we have a huge shortage of officials. I mean, it's just a fact in the area and all those kind of things. So. Okay, I'm done. Just pump the brakes a little bit. It's okay. So, all right, that's it. I'm done. I feel better.
No, that's good. No, I think it's important to note, I think it's important to talk about because I think all of us would agree, for as much as we've watched high school football and whether we're walking the sidelines, watching video, or anything in between, I think that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, the outcome is determined by the players and the coaches on the sideline.
Yep.
Very few times are we really seeing that one play or one outcome by an official has defined an outcome of a game. Very little times. And even in those times, even at the end of the game when it is maybe a last second play, how many undetermined plays before that happened that could have made a difference that we don't talk about because it was just a play that didn't mean anything, in the
Bingo.
moment. So,
yep. No, it's like umpires, like we don't, if you're not talking about an umpire, that means that's a good thing. It's the same thing with sometimes with offensive linemen. You don't talk about them unless something bad happens, and that's maybe college and NFL. But there's so many things that go into a football game, and there's going to be there's going to be bad calls every single night, and they don't have you should be able to run over to Greg Armstrong and say, hey, Greg, rewind that back. Like, that's maybe something we could work on, but they don't have the ability to throw a challenge flag and do all those kind of things as well. So it's just, and we all know the officials in the area. I don't know one of them that was like, oh man, I'm thinking about screwing this team over like on Friday night. Like that just isn't the case. They have no skin in the game. So that's my little rant for the night, and I'm done.
I heard Stocking say that back in the day. He did.
He's not paying it. Are you paying attention?
What?
No.
Yeah, I was listening to Dazzo talk about the officials. I mean, they're doing their best job. I mean, there's plays that are different. And here's the other thing, folks. When oh, that's a terrible call on that. There's only 4 or maybe there's probably 5 guys. And they each have assigned parts of the field that they are supposed to be watching. And you could have a replay from one angle that shows that the ball was out. From the other angle, it shows it wasn't. And it depends on where they're at and where they're where they're at and where they're looking from. And I mean, you gotta give them the benefit of the doubt. They're doing the best job they can. It's just that there's not 8 of them like in the NFL, and there's not 5 million camera angles or instant replay like they have at in the college or the NFL games.
Somebody's gonna say like, but no, this is obvious. Yeah, and there's even ones they just flat out miss. There's even ones that it's not like a judgment call or anything like that. There's flat out. There's going to be calls they miss, they get wrong, they miss holds, they miss. It just happens. It's okay. It's high school football.
They're human.
Stock.
Yes.
I think the important thing is, can I find the video? I need to get Dan Pearson's video of you throwing multiple flags on the same play. I need to find that video.
Yes,
now,
there were 2 of us doing the game.
Okay.
And the first flag was on a hold by the lineman. Then there was the Moline quarterback throws the ball in the end zone on a Hail Mary at the end of the first half.
This is a freshman game on a Saturday?
Yep, between Moline and Bettendorf.
Thank you.
The Moline quarterback throws the Hail Mary at the end of the first half. There's a blatant hold by the Moline lineman. That drew the first flag. Then the ball is intercepted in the end zone by Bettendorf. The kid returns it out to about the 30, 35-yard line, runs out of bounds and gets lit up out of bounds. Well, that's a personal foul for a late hit. So we had holding on Moline. That's declined because it was a pre-possession foul. Then we had a dead ball, personal foul, late hit out of bounds on Moline. That was accepted, and they had 1 on-time down.
Dan Pearson! Yes. Dan Pearson! I love him. He's the best.
As you're chiming in, Stocking, Dan Pearson is letting us know that we have this video on a 3/4-inch tape somewhere that you made 3 bad calls all of the same play.
I never made a bad call.
Never.
I do want to say this. Everything I just said does not include if Stockpile is the official.
Hey,
it's throw everything I said out the window if Stockpile is your official, because he has biases. Greg, am I wrong?
You do have biases, and you were throwing wallets and Twinkies and parties when you ran out of
I would never
flags.
throw a Twinkie. I would never throw a Twinkie.
I mean, I got you, Stock.
Who's calling, Stock?
Uh-oh.
Put him on the air. Put him on the air. Let's go.
I don't think Mama Stockpile wants to be on the
Yes!
She does.
She does. She needs to be on the air.
I don't think she does want to be on the air. I think she just hung up on me. But
I was gonna say,
gonna ask
if
where
there's
you're
multiple penalties on a play, you gotta throw the multiple flag, Stock. I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
Did you
I
have
mean,
what?
if there are violations, you gotta call it. 100%.
How many
and I'm not
flags do you
John
have?
Wayne in the shootist. I don't throw wallets.
How many flags did you have? Like, don't they
2.
normally have to throw a hat?
I have 2.
All right.
Is that
And,
normal?
and several
they
beanbags
get-
also.
Normally you get 1, but they gave him 2 because they knew he'd be.
Yeah.
He's got the Hawkeyes, man.
Slinging flags left and right. I love
They
it.
just looked at him. They go, "Oh, this dude's gonna need 2 flags," and they just give him 2.
Oh, Stock, you're out of your officiating days though, am I correct?
No, I still do it. It's just that I'm very.
When?
I did a couple. I've done 3 so far this year.
Oh, nice. Never mind. I'll shut
Are
up.
you?
Which game?
Yeah.
I have to look. I mean, I did two
Yeah, I
in
mean,
Fulton,
there's
one
so
in
many of them.
Morrison.
It's hard to.
Yeah, well, you weren't there either, so
Are
you should referee Dazzo.
Oh,
Yeah, he should.
I would
Here we
pay
go.
to see you and Don Umlin.
My daughter fouled out of one
That's
game. For her career.
incorrect.
Guess who
She
the
fouled
official
out
was?
at 2. And I didn't do the first one.
You fouled Pearson's daughter out of a game?
I didn't foul her out. She fouled out. She had 5 fouls. I called 2 of them.
Oh,
Wow.
You fouled out Dan
Now-
Pearson's daughter.
Yeah, and they were trying to, and she was fouling later in the game to stop the clock.
Man, I
Hey,
want to pull it up again. I just can't believe it, you know?
Stockpile. Like, I think we can all agree here that, like, Dan Pearson is, like the leader of all of this and, like, so important to all of us. And you would do that to his daughter.
She did it to herself, and she was doing it to stop the clock so they get a chance to win.
Man. You think you know somebody,
Typical
Greg?
official.
Yeah, I know.
Dazzo, how many times did you foul out of Bettendorf games when you were in the when you were being carried in the Seed League championship game?
Are we talking about which of the 3 championships are we talking about?
All
Stockpile?
3. You probably fouled out of all 3 of them.
Man. Well, I'm just saying. Dan Pearson's daughter. Wow. Whew.
I heard you foul. You were fouling all over the place.
Stop deflecting, Stockpile. Stop. Own it. I'm sorry, Dan. I'm sorry. I apologize on behalf of all of us.
We are the reason that Tony is still awake.
So
There
it's
you go.
great because I was gonna the show was so packed full of great football content, and now it's just this, which is still both equally as entertaining, I think. But
Yep.
why is Pearson not on the screen with us?
He wasn't feeling well earlier. I talked to him. I invited him on, and we're gonna get him on later this year for sure.
Man.
No doubt about it. So
Absolutely.
he was there, of course, covering Annawan, Weathersfield, Stark County, getting great vid, and it's far too many games in between where we are walking the sidelines together. So it was cool to see him tonight. It was great. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
all right. Hey, Ty Taylor, I need your thoughts on Week 6, heading into Week 7. Give me kind of your, just your insights.
Well, I saw while Mr. Randazzo was going on his officials rant and this has nothing to do with anything we've talked about, which of course is probably not what you wanted me to say, but at Wheaton Academy they had a camel at the game tonight, a real camel. It was like a zoo.
What?
Yep, it was just sitting there on the sideline. Yep, a camel. And then it was walking on the field.
We have stockpile gold, but this is I don't know what we call Ty Taylor's info, but that is some real.
It was nice because me and a couple of my friends went to the Niabi Zoo a couple of weeks ago, and I love zoos. I do. I love animals. It was the first time I've been to the zoo, and since I was probably 13, maybe even younger than that. And
That's
the camel
probably.
camel wouldn't come out, so thank God I got to see the camel today on X from the Wheaton Academy game. The giraffe did come out, though. It was great to see the giraffe. They don't have elephants at the Niabi Zoo anymore, though, which was a little disappointing.
What are we talking about right now? What happened here? What just happened?
We've moved. We've moved past midnight, and here we are.
There was a camel. There was a camel at one of the games tonight. There was not a camel at Rock Ridge, though. I'm hoping maybe there's a camel or an elephant at the Mercer County game tomorrow.
This is an interesting segue into what else is gonna.
Yeah, I wanted your outlook on Week 6.
Anyway,
that's an interesting one.
That was the only thing that came to my mind. I think though tonight, like we talked about with Coach Whitebread, the win for Erie Provincetown was great. For them, I think that basically sets them up to play in the postseason. I think Riverdale will still get there too. Next week though, interesting. Orion and Erie Provincetown, with Orion basically playing for their playoff lives. Obviously, like we talked about earlier too, hopefully, Owen Voorhees is okay and he can play. And I got the chance to see, Rock Ridge in person for the first time tonight. And I will say this, I think they're a semifinalist in 2A. Man, they're good. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
And if
Kyle,
they get to the state championship, we're bringing a camel to Bloomington for the game.
Yes. Yes.
hanging out, a camel hanging out at pub 2. I'm here for it.
We will have a camel, and we'll put Dan Pearson's daughter on the camel to make her feel better after Brian Stocking followed her out of a game back in the day.
Kyle Kampmeyer, that's a great segue into you.
Is it?
Well, maybe not the camel thing. No, forget that part. But this Rock Ridge talk, if they're a semifinalist, yeah, I want to pick your brain when you look forward about not just 2A, but 1A, everything in between. I think that, well, there's nothing in between 1A and 2A, I guess. It's, it is.
It's like the Harry Potter get to the train. There's the 1 3/4 maybe.
There you go. I want to hear all your thoughts, Kyle, moving forward on 1A and 2A. That's what I'm trying to say.
So, I mean, I agree with Ty. Rockridge could be a semifinalist team. It's really going to depend on where they get paired up with Wilmington. Let's be honest. Wilmington is the heavy favorite, still are, because with their enrollment at 400, they're definitely dropping in that 2A field. Our good friend Matt Cerdick said it. It's Wilmington and everybody else. Will that be the case? I don't know. I think Rockridge can give anybody a game. I agree with Ty. I like what the Rockets are doing. They've definitely impressed me. The win over Newman actually, to me, stood out. Well, the win over Princeton really stood out. But after Newman had beat them as well, Rockridge's win over Newman stood out very heavily to me. And I'm looking forward to week 8 with Monmouth Roseville now. But as far as like the 1A side, it's going to be interesting. Like we said, the big game, my biggest takeaway tonight, EPC getting a convincing win over Forreston, definitely puts them in the playoff field, and getting 6 teams into the playoffs out of the NUIC. Tie back to what you were saying about Erie Prophetstown's win tonight. I think it was Erie. No. Yeah, it was Erie Prophetstown. I did have them projected to be in the playoffs with their win tonight. I have both them and Riverdale now projected at 6-3. So we'll see if that changes. But based off of where I did have them, that win tonight shifts that around, because I had Riverdale going 7-2.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Matt Randazzo, your thoughts, your overall reactions, your comments to Stockpile, anything.
No, I'm kind of tapped out, fellas. I feel like I brought my A game tonight with Mitch not here. This is usually the part of the night when Mitch would be like, guys, it's getting late. Like, we should be done. Because like he's East Coast time, so I get it. So
yeah,
it was fun. And Pearson, God bless that guy. Like that was my favorite part of the night is Pearson and don't shake your head, Stockpile. It is what it is. So anyways, yeah, like week 6 is done. I guess we could do we're 2/3 of the way through the regular season now and all that kind of stuff. But there are some really good, intriguing matchups coming up. And now it's talking about like what we've talked with Kyle a lot about, like how are things shaping up for the postseason, teams getting in and all that kind of stuff. So let's do it again next week. Why not? Let's do it one more time or 3 more times at least. So
let's do it again. Hey, thank you to all of you who step in and fill in for Mitch's voice being absent. But I want to give a shout out. Mitch he put in all the final scores, even while he's hanging out with celebrities in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. I mean, he's a big deal now. He hangs out in Hollywood. And
Hollywood Mitch.
That's right. Hollywood Mitch, I mean, Ty, you hang out in like Viola on your free time, and Mitch hangs out in Hollywood. So there's a difference.
Do not slam on Viola. Don't do it. You ever been to Miles Memorial Park?
I wouldn't dare. Yeah. I don't.
You wouldn't make it very far in Miles Memorial Park in Viola.
I've hung around. I've hung around on the streets of Viola and the like before. So, Stock, what do you got?
Well, for Ty's, we talked about Ty's thing at the beginning of this. I've got a great one. Ty's Tidings.
Ties.
Tidings.
Oh, you said tidings. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get your mind in.
Definitely sounded like Ties Tidies.
That's what I
do.
Whitey ties tidy whiteys. I think is what he was getting at.
No, tidings. Like tidings
okay.
of joy.
The best thing about when you mute Stocking is when he starts talking and you can see like his desperation to get out what he's trying to say, but we can't hear him. And it's fun to try to like picture what he's saying. Honestly.
I've wanted a mute button on Brian Stocking forever, and now Greg has one. Like, it's got to be the best thing ever. It's got to be amazing.
All right.
Poor Stock.
I'll run down the list here. Thank you so much to everyone who listens, who follows along. Matt Randazzo, you can follow his show every day, Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, live at 10 o'clock every morning. Find his stuff, great content from high school to college, everything. Ty Taylor, WRMJ. Ty, you're going to be up at 9 a.m. tomorrow for the, WRMJ Sports Line.
We will be up for that, and then we'll be heading to Sterling in Roscoe East Stadium. I'm looking forward to Candlelight Inn for sure. Looking forward to some high school football. And I will say this real quick before we get to Brian Stocking's final thoughts. I was going to a bachelor party last weekend, and I was listening to part of this show on my way there, and it was early in the morning on Saturday last week. And Brian Stocking gave an analogy of stepping on a rake. And I don't know if it's because I was just deliriously tired. I was literally had tears welling in my face. I was laughing so hard. And then Mitch asked if Stocking went to school with Sideshow Bob, and that killed me, man. I almost had to pull over because I literally couldn't see. I was laughing so hard. It was so funny. Step on a rake. That is it. That is one of the best analogies I've ever heard in my life, and I've never heard anybody use it before. We would step on a rake talking about Riverdale football during Brian Stocking's days in high school. That is so funny.
Stock,
Oh
I will
gosh.
say, I've never heard you use that analogy either.
It was
until
so
that time.
funny.
I was keeping it for a well needed moment, but I just want to say that tonight we saw a solidification of the top teams in each conference or division. Moline solidified their spot atop the Western Big Six. Anawan Wethersfield took over the top spot from Stark County. Monmouth Roseville has clinched no worse than a tie in their division. Same thing for Rockridge. Also, next week, the Three Rivers will play their final division games. The last 2 weeks are non-divisional matchups. And I'm just wondering, and this is something that Ty might want to ask the coaches tomorrow. Do the coaches like that, where the last 2 weeks are non-divisional, or would they like to have week 9 division championship on the line, last game of the season?
Ty, were you asking Ty? I don't know.
Well, I would think that I don't know if Ty knows that, or if he's going to ask that, if he would like to.
I
ask
tuned
that
out.
question.
I'm sorry.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I don't know. I can ask. I'll ask maybe. How about that?
Okay, because I would think that they would like to have that week 9, being the final game, but I don't know. And by the way, when I go to the Niamey Zoo, my mom loves the giraffes. I love the camels.
Good night. Good night.
Can you believe I didn't get to see the camel? I was so mad. Oh
There
my
we go.
gosh.
There we go. Well,
God bless everyone.
Kyle Kampmeyer, I won't ask you about your favorite animal at the zoo, but give me your final thoughts. Of course, Kyle Kampmeyer, NUICfootball.com. You can find him every week. Thursday, their show comes out. They cover all things 1A, 2A, 3A, and 8-man football. Kyle, wrap us up.
Yeah, I agree with Stock. We're starting to see the top teams rise to the top, and it's really starting to separate itself. I think it's, in some classes, it's starting to make a really great playoff picture. I think we're going to see some great competition still over this last third of the regular season. There's a lot of chaos is about to ensue on us. and screw everything up that we got projected out there. But it's going to be a lot of fun to watch and see how it all falls apart.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you to all you guys for jumping in, lending your knowledge, lending your expertise. Brian Stocking, I always love picking your brain about your officiating and all of your, knowledge. So, Matt Randazzo, Ty Taylor, Kyle Kampmeyer, thank you so much. Mitch will be back. Hopefully he gets back from Los Angeles, and when he's done hanging out with all the big times, we're going to get a podcast out on Tuesday morning, looking ahead to week 7 and, kind of looking ahead to what's happening in the, the playoff picture. But thank you to everyone who joins, to everyone who listens along, and we will see you all. You will hear us all on Tuesday morning. So long, everybody. Stock, give us a good so long, everybody.
So long, everybody.
Perfect. That's what we need.